Hey, good evening. I'm back from the beach, that is. Caught crabs, caught fish, and yeah, I'm sad to be back, but I'm glad to be back. So, hey, Sparky, that was quick. I sorry I'm a little late getting on tonight. I had some problems with YouTube opening the right pages. Had to close everything, reboot, start back up. But we're here now,
I
and
helping
ready
the
to.
guy that couldn't get on.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say, Sparky?
I was helping the guy that couldn't get on. I can't remember his name.
Uh, Well, oh, I hope he's a. You mean Jorge?
No, the other guy.
I remember somebody the other night said they wanted to
Ron
come.
Hess. There he is.
There he is. And can you hear us, Ron?
Well, it's not working, so
We hear you.
Yep, always can. But he can never hear us.
I told him about changing his sound cards. Change your sound card. Let's see. We need to open.
can you hear me?
Yes.
How
Yeah.
about them apples?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I can hear you fine. I can hear you.
Okay.
Well, we're all good then. Okay. Well, welcome to the club. We're all on the same page, so to speak.
Sparky and I just had a 15-minute conversation while we were waiting for you to come up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was running late. I was having trouble getting the pages to open right. Had to shut it down and start back up. So anyway, here I am. All
And here I am.
back from the beach and all relaxed. So ready
Get
to settle
the
down.
shirt and Monaco.
Did I what? Get my monocoat?
Yeah.
Now I haven't gone down to Bob's yet. It's going to be sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to drive down to Manning and get it from him. He lives about 60 miles from here.
More importantly, did you get any fish?
Yep, and we caught fish and we caught crabs every day, so we never ran out of blue crab.
Good.
It's all good. Yeah, but did everything you're supposed to do at the beach, including sitting on the front porch watching people walk by. Luckily, it was a low traffic area, and Pawleys Island is a low traffic beach. It's not what you think of when you think of the big bustling places like the beaches and well, Myrtle Beach comes to mind. Everybody thinks when you say you're going to the beach in South Carolina, you're talking about Myrtle Beach, but I stay as far away as I can from that place because foot-long hot dogs and roller coasters and packed crowds are more like the fair than it is like the beach. And Pawleys is a nice little barrier island and nice and quiet and just a good place to relax, decompress, and gather your thoughts and get ready to come back to the world. Unfortunately, you have to come back. But yeah, we chilled out pretty good. Went down there with my son's family, and I had a very sublime time. It was good. Well, I'm glad.
You need some relaxation once in a while.
Yeah. So, what did you have to do to get your sound working so you could come in and talk and hear?
Yeah, we were just selecting. There's 3 selections that you can have on your sound and video, and just kept trying until I hit the right one.
Was it some setting in your computer or was it some setting on?
My computer. It was a setting on mine.
It was. Okay. Well,
Which
good.
I figured because when Charles had it last week, boomed right in and had no problem at all, but it was not
right.
on.
I forgot. I remember you said that. Yeah. I posted something on there on the comments to.
I saw that.
Did you? Somebody click the like button. That must have been you.
You bet.
You see this, Rusty?
Oh, man. That's coming along nice. Let me click on you so everybody on YouTube can see it. We got 6 viewers on YouTube. Looking good. And what are the dark lines around the seams? Is that pencil marks or is that gaps you're gonna fill
Right.
in? Yeah.
That's 1/64th plywood.
Okay. That's
Bring
pretty
me back. I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'm thirsty.
okay. Yeah, get yourself a cup of coffee or something so you can hang with us all night.
That's so it has a nice edge when I paint it. You know,
Yeah.
we'll get
Yeah.
ate up.
It looks good in the flesh.
Well, I got all the big parts now: the wing, the fuselage, and the elevator.
What about hollowing out the turtle deck or the top block? Have you done that yet?
Yep, sure have. Can't hardly see in there, but it's all hollowed out.
Yeah, I can see. Looks all right. Looks nice. And you've already built the wing, right?
Yep,
Is it geodesic wing? Is that how
yep,
you
geodesic. Yep,
all right.
lost foam. I'm hoping this airplane is under 60 ounces with a PA-75. If I could hit 58 or 59, I'd be happy.
Is that about the sweet spot for a PA-75? Or is that just your personal preference?
Well, it has to be under 64, so I can use 15 thousandths lines. But I'd like it at 40 ounces. I like light airplanes.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna happen. My lightest PA airplane was Viper 6. It was 49 ounces with a PA-65 in it. But it was a smaller airplane.
So how much does the Junar weigh?
Well, it weighed 55 ounces at Brodak. We'll see what it weighs at the Nats.
That's pretty 55 is pretty much in my wheelhouse. Any heavier than that, and I have a hard time flying it because I'm well, at least the ones I've flown just pull too hard, but I know there are adjustments you can make, line tension and lead out and such to keep it from pulling so hard. But
My Monado over there weighs 58 ounces.
yeah, every one of my favorite planes that I flew the pattern with the best were between say 45 and 55, and anything heavier than that I've never gotten along with very well. Needless to say, I didn't get along with my 72-ounce Magnum very well. That was too early in my career to have been flying that heavy.
Rusty's kind of breaking up there.
Yep.
Am I? Okay. Well, let me change my bandwidth and knock it down a little bit.
No, turn it up.
Okay. That's all the way. It hadn't kicked in yet. Okay. Now it has. That's all the way up like that. How's that sound? Does it look better?
Sounds good, but you're froze. There you go. It's starting to move.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Tell me if I need to turn it back down. Looks like my motions are synchronized from my end anyway.
Yeah.
But thanks for doing a show for me, and thanks Charles too for doing a show for me while I was gone. And I popped in just for about a minute when Charles was on the other.
I saw it.
And it looked like that pretty good.
Signed off and you came on.
Now you're breaking up. I hope this isn't out of hand. I'm gonna drop it back down a notch. That's halfway in between with the bandwidth like that. So let's see. I hope that's not a trend tonight. How's it look?
I had just signed off when you signed on at your end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw you come on.
Uh, yeah, I didn't realize I was going to plunk right into the conversation when I clicked the link, but I was just browsing through Stunthangar to see what kind of reading material was out, and I saw that, clicked on it, and boom, I was suddenly at a party. And so I said hi to everybody and left, but yeah, glad they took the initiative to get on and do something. And I hadn't seen Terry, crazy Uncle Terry, and a long time. He hadn't come on with us here, but he was on with them last night. I mean, that night too.
I unlocked it, so it's open.
Yeah. I've got one of those rooms, but I haven't ever used it for a group chat except for to test out with my son a couple of times. And other than that, and that was on my telephone too. Other than that, I've never used my own, but I've got one called Rusty. I think it's called Rusty K, just like my YouTube channel. But anyway, we're having a picnic meeting later in July, and I'm going to do my best to be prepared and get out there and get some stick time. And, you know, before it's going to be the last Saturday in July. So hopefully before then I can get out and do a little bit too. If nothing else, get some half A's out, go across the street to the church and put them up. Just get my reflexes turned back on. It's been a long time.
We're planning on coming to Huntersville again.
Good, good. Well, I hope I'll be in better form in October. I'm looking forward to it. If I can't fly, I'll judge, but I'd sure like to fly. And by then, you know, we'll see.
My daughter lives in Raleigh, and I'm thinking that maybe I'm going to see if I can schedule a little visit to her about that time and maybe get down and see you
That'd
guys.
be a great excuse to do both, yeah. And that's what Shug did. He made it a trip to the contest plus to visit his sister who lives in Charlotte, which is, you know, Huntersville is on the perimeter of Charlotte. And so he combined the two and then went hiking in the North Carolina mountains somewhere.
That sounds like work.
That does to me too. Now I used to enjoy camping. We used to go up in the Appalachians to Mount Mitchell and maybe Mount Pisgah, and by the Western standards, they're nothing. You know, as far as size and cliffs and ours are just big forested hills, and I think Mount Mitchell is about 4,500 or 1,000. It'd be 4,500 feet high. You know, when it's 45,000.
Air conditioning and television.
Yeah.
45,000. You better have some oxygen with you.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. Yeah. So 4,500 feet, I think, is that's the highest on the East Coast too. But it's a beautiful range with the Appalachian Parkway that you can drive for several states, and in the fall it's just gorgeous, just like a sea of exploded crayons when the trees start turning colors. And the section of it in North Carolina where we camped is called the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, because it's always hazy up there.
Don't forget to buy a copy of my book on Amazon.
What the hell was that?
Judge Janine.
Wasn't me.
It was Judge Janine.
Okay. I was thinking maybe I ought to turn my controls on just in case. I will do that. My quick release controls in case somebody jumps in on me and surprises me. Yeah, while Haskett's on, I just noticed 4,500 is the elevation where he lives, and he flies in it every time he flies. Yeah, that's up there. They have drag races in places like Denver at 5,000 feet, and I don't see how they can even have a decent race. I guess, you know, you can retune and work on the fuel mixture and feed it whatever it takes to run at a high altitude, but there's no way to do it and still develop the kind of horsepower you develop down here at and I think I'm at about 300 feet where I am. Huntersville's probably maybe 400 feet above sea level. But I don't know, Wally. Tell us how you do it. I don't remember if Wally's an old engine head racer or not. Superchargers, baby. Okay, yeah, there we go. I forgot about that. That would give you some air pressure.
Pump a little more air in there.
Hey, Wally, can you come visit us live, or you got to do it by chat tonight? See if Wally will come in. He's always a good conversationalist.
Hey, this is a monumentous day. I finally got in.
It is a monumental occasion for Wally. I called you Ron when I made that comment, not Wally.
Because that's my name. It's Ryan.
I mean, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. My brain is not quite back up to full speed.
Hey, it's Ron.
Never mind. Like Rosanna Dana used to say on Saturday Night Live.
I also respond to "Hey you."
Okay, works for me. I try not to do that too much. I never like it when people say that, especially if I'm walking away from them. And Wally says he'll just be in the chat tonight. His computer's messed up.
Well, at least I got the headbanging retard taken care of. We won't see him again.
Yeah. Well, if I hadn't let him talk us into signing up for the forum and getting the link, we wouldn't have gotten him in that night either. But I'm a trusting person, and you've thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. We'll let him in. But sure enough,
I wonder if he's the guy that gives me a thumbs down on every video.
He might, now that you've mentioned it, but I don't think so. That thumbs down was coming well before we ever encountered those guys. Because it was like a pack of teenage wolves, and
it must be directed towards me personally too, because you don't never get them. I get them.
I think I've only noticed one time I ever got a thumbs down, and I don't know why. But you're right. It's only on the shows that you can just come and visit one of the shows and leave, and it'll get a thumbs down.
But you know what? And this is to the knucklehead that's doing it. It doesn't matter. The metrics, whether you give a thumbs down or a thumbs up, it's the same thing. It's just annoying.
Actually, it affects the previews that YouTube gives out to the thumb giver. You know, if they thumb up or thumb down a certain genre, then YouTube will adjust their previews that you get on the side of the page when you're randomly looking at videos. So it affects the guy that gives it more than it affects the guy that gets it.
What's you know, we're such a small channel with 2,000 subscribers that, you know, it doesn't much matter, you know.
It's not likely that a lot of people ever even stumble in and see this, because I look at some channels and they've got just tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views and subscriptions, and it's just amazing. It doesn't seem like they've got the content that would draw it, but somehow they do.
I told you, if I could figure out how to do some asinine videos, we could up our subscribership like crazy. I mean,
well,
a cat taking a dump on a paper gets more views than we get.
Well, you'd shift your subscribership to a whole new crowd. I can guarantee you that. But you'd lose the ones you do have, and I wouldn't want to lose them just for the sake of population. Wally says he does all the thumbs up.
Well, that's good. Gonna be live streaming at the Nats here
Oh yeah. What week is that? Is that next week or the week after?
next week.
Okay.
Going Saturday. We'll start streaming probably Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Is Jerry going?
Oh yeah. I
Cool.
was gonna judge, but now I'm gonna fly. The reason I'm gonna, well, first off, I was asked if I would do that. Second, I can film, and I got my hotspot for my pocket that I can put in my pocket so that I'll have internet, and I'll try to do some streaming of the pilots meeting and the appearance judging.
Now with the hotspot, you'll be using cellular access, right?
Yeah, it's 4G. It's not 5G, but
Well, that's okay. 4G is pretty damn good. That's what I run on my phone's 4G and my tablet. So I've never tried going upload with it though. So I don't know. That might be a bigger difference than I realized.
now when I get to the L pad, I can shut off my hotspot and run off their internet, their Wi-Fi there. That's what I did last year.
Yeah. Well, how much does it cost for you to use a cellular access? That's pretty expensive, isn't it?
You bet. You bet. That's why all those when I'm when I'm live streaming at the Nats, anybody that can give me a what do they call that, the super chat, it helps because that bandwidth is $10 a gig, and trust me, it eats it up.
Yeah, I bet it does. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, and I'll spread the word while you're up there too. While he says next week he's going to be flying, the last 3 days it's been too windy to fly where he lives.
Well, I could have flew this weekend, but it was so hot I stayed inside for 2 days.
Yeah, the last few, well, I guess the last 3 weeks of June, it was 100 degrees every day in Columbia. But when we left for the beach, it was only in the 90s every day down there. And of course, the sea breeze is cool. And so that was nice. And we had a porch on the house, a big porch that had a great airflow through it. So we kept the air conditioner in the house down to complete Arctic settings, and then sitting out on the porch was not too bad either. I'd say I spent most all of my time sitting out there. And Gerald Wimmer just hit you with a super chat. Hey Gerald, he says, hi Sparky, Rusty, Wally, and Ron. I always give CL videos a thumbs up, but we need more of them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you signing in sometime soon tonight. So far, we got 6 viewers on the tube right now, and we know who a couple of them are. We got Wally and Gerald. Let's see who else. That's all that have let themselves be known. But the rest of you out there in anonymity, we appreciate too. And if you click that super chat button at the bottom, the $sign of the chat box, we appreciate that, because that's what helps Sparky keep the show on the air and also keep the show free. So any contributions are greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I got to come up with $800 by August. Keep Stunthangar open.
Oh, it is. Huh? Okay. Mercy. Well, we appreciate the commitment.
We're on our 12th year, so got to do it.
Now, how much older is Stuka Stunt Works? How many years older is it than Stunthangar?
I don't know. Quite a bit, though. Probably 10 years.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly the same people. I guess it's probably got its own core crowd of loyal posters, but
It doesn't have much action anymore.
I see a lot of crossover. People still go post in both places, but I think the primary one is Stunthangar now. But if he, you know, he never did want to change his format from the old style bulletin board to the new style, which has been around since then. Hell, I don't know, 2000, late 90s. The new style like you use and like V bulletin and all those.
There's some more changes I could do in Stunthangar, but oh man, you just got to realize how much time it takes me to go through and do all that. I just don't have it.
Yeah, I know. It really does eat up the time just maintaining a forum. Do you get carpet bombed with spam a lot? I know.
Ron Hess and I were talking on a peer in, and by the time we were talking, we had 65 spammers try to get in. I had just erased 300.
Ron, sorry, Rusty, hello, Sparky.
Hey, Gerald.
Hey,
Good to
Gerald.
see you.
Hi, Gerald.
Right. Good to see you here and all working okay.
Everything's good here. I'm refreshed and renewed after coming back from the beach.
Yeah, I was listening to you before. Yeah, it sounded like a nice trip out. You got to do all the beach things, yeah?
Yeah, and just decompressing is the most important part of it. They don't call it vacation for nothing. I've vacated completely.
How Ron got on tonight is I talked to him and had him think like a 12-year-old.
It worked.
Yeah,
he
sure
can
did.
now hear us and talk to us. Steve Schoenecker just hit us with a super chat. Thank you, Steve.
Let's see here.
I recognize the name, but I can't place the face. I don't know if Steve's been in here with us live on camera before. His super chat's a different color. I wonder, I guess you get different colors for different amounts or something.
Yeah, and it stays up for different times. Yeah, we appreciate the super chats. That'll help keep the streaming going for the Nats.
Well, it's been great to watch all the streaming, the video feeds you've put out for Brodak, and I've enjoyed watching the other videos you've posted, so really appreciate it here.
I got one more day of Brodaks to post. All I got to do is sit down and put it together.
What are all the green check marks all about?
Just to draw attention to the title.
Is that something you did, or is that just something that YouTube added?
No, I did it.
So we got 10 viewers on YouTube now.
Brodaks has a little skull, an alien skull. The Brodaks video, the Junkyard Wars.
Yeah, we enjoyed watching the Junkyard Wars. I think it was inspiring to my boys. They enjoyed watching it, giving them ideas with some balloon popping and stuff.
Well, Brodak Junkyard Wars is they take a trailer full of trash and pour it out in the field. Then you got to run out and grab the trash and build an airplane out of it in a half an hour.
Yeah, so it looks like a lot of fun.
It's all fruit crate boxes, isn't it? Isn't that what that wood comes from? Like they ship fruit in.
And do they all get the same engine, and I presume they all get a set of lines and an engine and a tank?
Yeah, they're allowed to bring an engine and a tank and a bell crank, and you know that kind of stuff, a set of lines.
Can you have anything pre-built like your engine bearers and?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a big bonus. You can just nail your bearers onto a plank then, and get your bell crank in. It shouldn't take too long.
When we were visiting Watt Moore one day, Wayne found his old Junkyard Wars plane in the shop and brought it out, and it had a Max S-35 on it, I think, and the hinges were all zip ties, and half the rest of the plane was held together with zip ties too. But we cranked it up and flew that plane, and I think we got more laughs than I ever remember flying a control line plane, because it flew like a dog, but it was funny and fun to fly. It was hard to keep it in the air, but it was a challenge too. Oh, Steve Schonecker says, yeah, been a while, from Texas. Am I saying your last name correctly, Steve? Please let me know. I hate to mispronounce people's names. I had a hard time switching from George to Jorge with Mr. Gonzalez from Colombia, South America. But now I call him his real name, Jorge with a J, George A.
It's hard, so many different accents and dialects. And some of us are hearing challenged. I've got the tinnitus in my ears really bad, so I don't hear all the conversations clearly at times.
Yeah, I hear whistling and crickets in my ears too. I never can. Ollie wants me to listen to the baby wrens nesting in the carport when the eggs hatch, and I can't hear that high pitched chirping.
Yeah, all the high frequency stuff's gone out of my ears. So little kids and all, I find it really hard to hear. I say, talk slow and deep, and then I can hear you. Yeah, the kids understand me a bit better, but yeah, I can't hear other kids.
When Max and Otto first started coming on, I could not understand. But that was before you got your microphone and stuff straightened out too, because you cleared up yourself a lot too. At first, when you were first new on the show, I couldn't understand what y'all were saying, but I got used to it, and you upgraded your equipment, I think.
Yeah, that seems to have helped. But I know that the factory gear on the laptop isn't necessarily that great. It gets you in there, but no more.
Yeah.
But I know shooting the videos, seeing some of the gear that Sparky's been using, it's quite amazing just what he's been able to get. The footage while he walks along, and that stabilized footage, it's quite amazing. It's almost like he's going along with a little trolley.
Never knew he was walking. Yeah, I was surprised at that. Here comes Steve Hines. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's
Steve?
it going?
Oh, it's going good. What's going on with you tonight?
Oh, just got back from flying. Or I don't ever fly, but Samantha was flying. I was watching.
I see you got your Nats hat on.
Yeah, the sun was real bright tonight. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and dead air and stuff. But
You feeling better, Steve?
pardon me.
Oh, sorry, you're feeling better now with the problems that you were having?
Today, not so much, because I went and ate some chili last night, and it did not agree with me at all.
Mm.
Have you guys checked out this channel here?
Hobby show.
Oh, Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I used to have that hobby a long time ago, but it cost me half my house and all kinds of other stuff. My motorhome, my boat.
Yeah.
I traded hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll get a ride. She just dropped her baggage. She's free.
Yeah, we can't compete with that, can we?
Ichiya!
Hace 45 años renovando productos y ahora con el agregado de ingredientes naturales, semillas de avena, lino y chía.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Is she over there in France? I have to look her up.
Nah, she's in Brazil or something, isn't she?
Oh, shit. I was talking Portuguese.
She's making me hungry.
Argentina.
No, Argentina.
Argentina. Okay.
That's Portuguese she speaks. Man, she's cute.
Yeah, there's some other girl. I forget. I was going on there. And she's always out cutting wood and splitting wood and shooting guns and all this kind of stuff. And she dresses like that. And one of them, her husband did some body painting on her. And that's all she was wearing while she was doing stuff. And I was like, damn. I don't know if them boobs are real, but they were real nice.
I don't think that Carolina Florista is very old. She's probably 30, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
But they're building some kind of great big airplane. I don't understand a word they're saying because they speak Portuguese. But you know, we talk model. You can just watch what they're doing. I'd sure like to be there to help them straighten out some of them flats on that thing.
Hey, what day you going to the Nats, Spark?
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah,
I think we're gonna go down for the day, and then come back the same day. But I guess Dave is gonna be there and stuff, and I guess let some of these guys fly the airplane, see how they think it's trimmed. I think we got it pretty good. I'm trimming by watching what it does. If she bounces a little bit out of the corner, and we ended up taking a little up elevator out it, and that really smoothed that out. And so she's flying it really good. Except she's still afraid of the dam coming straight in on her outside squares. But we'll see if she gets that. I keep telling her it's harder to pull that out at the bottom on an angle than it is straight up and down. If anything, you want to over-rotate, not under-rotate. But
What's causing that? You had that same problem before on the outside squares, didn't you? Have you got an idea why?
since she crashed at the Nats last year when that airplane went straight in, she's, I don't know, she just got something in her head, man. She just cannot point that son of a bitch straight at the ground now.
It's a hard one. Yeah.
I only have one stunt that I have the problem with, but that's the last leg of the hourglass. I, for some reason, start pulling out a little bit early on that one. And any other stunts like the square, outside square, I don't have any problem with the straight at the ground thing. And just on a really windy day, you know, I'm tentative at first just to see how the plane turns, and then once I feel it once, then I'm good, because it really accelerates fast when you pull it straight down in a real heavy wind.
Well, she never used to have problems with it. It was always her triangle and the hourglass, you know, where she wanted to really, you know, get it super straight, you know. And I keep telling her, I said, them two corners are a lot harder, but she's not doing it inverted, pulling out, you know, them come out the right direction. But I don't know. I tried to tell her tonight, I said, just get it. I don't care how fast you turn it. You can have 10-foot bottoms, 20-foot bottoms. Turn it and get the straight part. Then you can work at getting it lower, you know, get comfortable with it. But
yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. She got, out of all the flights, she probably got 2 good ones. And it was fine, but then she goes right back and does that little slanty one. And then a harder turn. I'm like, it's harder to turn that. You know, when you're
while he says this will go straight down without even thinking about it. Usually makes a mess out of his plane, though.
You know, but she doesn't. It's really weird. She doesn't have a problem with the reverse wing over. She can fly that right at 5 foot and turn that out. But it's some kind of a mental thing now with that, with them outside squares.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mention that part to her.
Yeah. I think it's just partly the big event coming up. Worried about having an accident with the plane. Maybe in France she'll throw away that inhibition and give it everything, knowing that she's prepared.
That's what I was thinking too. Once the time comes and it's time to perform, you nothing to lose, everything to win. So maybe you're right.
I keep telling her, I said, you know, the rest of it, I said, it's the same turn at the top, you know, as it is that one. And she does, you know, at the bottom, it's just wanting to point that thing straight at the ground. It's just, I don't know. I told her to visualize it. Keep flying that in your head to where you make sure you turn that thing straight down. You know?
One of the other guys.
I gotta go. It's bedtime for me.
All right, Sparky.
All right, take it easy, Sparky. We'll see you Saturday, probably.
Good talking to you.
You too, Ron. Glad to get you on.
Me too.
Finally, huh? You can keep getting on now.
Hey, I'm here.
We kept telling Rusty not to block you, but he wouldn't listen to us. You must have finally paid him enough money, and
I didn't get on till he went on vacation.
yeah, see,
That proves
there
it.
you
Yeah.
go.
All right, Sparky.
I tell you what, I had the same problem. I couldn't get on and couldn't get on. Then I got on, and then I couldn't get on for about 2.5 months. Then all of a sudden I can get on again. So I just go, I save it. I just go right back and go into it every time, and it works. And
There is a time when it could have been related to those spammer kids, because you know how they took control of my controls, and they could have given everybody ejections and timeouts and that kind of thing. So it might have been something
Right.
like
The problem was my computer settings, and we finally got past that. So now it's working.
well,
Do
it
you
was like
remember?
when we were in Pennsylvania, but we got back late, and everybody was already off. But I couldn't get on and couldn't get on my phone. And Samantha like, give me the phone. I'm tired of hearing you swearing. And she did some stuff, and like, there you go. But then it got me in, but everybody was gone. I'm like,
Oh,
it was like 15 minutes, and it was like 10 minutes after 12, and everybody was gone. I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah.
I should have just had her do it first, but she got in really quick. So I tell her, try to do that, but she doesn't realize she has to show me in slow motion. I can't see how fast her, she just clicks on this, bang, 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 bang. And
If you're
like,
if you're trying to teach somebody something, you gotta go slow and let them have time to soak in what you're saying. But that's when I've had young folks. I used to get them up to the chalkboard when I was training in the office machines business, and get them up to the whiteboard and show me how something works, and as well the rest of the class, just as a little pop test. And that's what they would do. They would blow through it so fast nobody could understand a word they were saying or a concept that they were thinking. But
it's young people though. They tend to be in a rush. Everything's in a rush.
yeah,
They don't understand. We're old and slow.
oh, I know it. But anything else she can't do. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. When it comes to them damn telephones and computers and shit, she can navigate her way through that shit, so damn fast. But, if I showed her that fast on how to do something, she couldn't do it, and she can't remember nothing. When's the last time you checked your oil? The last time you showed me again? Oh, okay. Well, I told you to check that at least once every couple weeks.
yeah.
Well, it never goes down. I said, well, that's a good thing. But what happens sometimes if it does go down?
Yeah.
Maybe you get a leak or something like that,
Yeah.
But you can't tell her.
Well, is she making payments on the car too? Because when you start making payments, you start remembering things like that a little bit better, maybe.
I told her, as of her birthday, I'm giving her that car. And when she owns it, I don't work on or pay for shit that ain't mine. So she damn sure better check the oil and stuff like this. Check the pressure in the tires. Because when that stuff goes bad, she's got to pay for it.
Yeah. Sometime maybe she, and all people who own cars should go down to the tech school and get a adult education, maybe a 1 month or a 1 week class on automobile maintenance.
Yeah.
And there's not as much that you can do on modern cars as there is on, for instance, a 1986 Monte Carlo, but still there's things like checking the oil, changing a tire, you know, and safely, and a lot of things that you need to know, battery terminals.
What was so funny is that she had a flat on the first car that I let her drive, my little Kia. And so she asked me about, you know, if we had a spare and stuff, and I told her where it was at. Well, one of her friends that she did dance with that was a year older, her boyfriend and some other boy, they're going to change the tire for her. Because I already told her, you know, basically how you do it. So I told her right off the bat, I said, make sure there's air in the spare. It's been in there for 6 months since I checked it. Make sure there's air in it. Well, I sent her on this little battery air compressor, jump starter, and all that kind of stuff, and has a trouble light, and it's like $100-some deal. Carry that in your car. You got to air up a tire, whatever. All right. So the kids put the tire on. She takes off down the driveway. Next thing you know, she's calling me, and she said, "Dad, the rubber came off of the spare." I said, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, it wasn't going fast or anything, and that rubber come right off."
Came off of the what?
Came off of the wheel.
Yeah,
Came off the spare.
Oh,
No air, period.
Right. I said, "You didn't check the air in that." Well, I told him to. I said, "You're responsible for that car. You need to make sure there's air in that tire." I'm like, "You had a flat tire, so you had to put the spare on, and then you didn't go back to make sure that there was air in the damn tire and all the other ones?" No.
This whole thing reminds me of my dear daughter. She was out driving one day, and gee, the overheat light came on. So, Dad, I drove it home so that you could check it.
Yes.
Tried the motor.
Yeah, my ex-wife did that to me. She goes, "It's really weird about that car." I said, "What's that?" She goes, "Every time you stop at a red light," she goes, "that heat needle pegs. But when I get going down the road, it goes back to normal." And I'm like, "Oh my God. How far did you drive it like that?" She goes, "All the way from work." It was like 20-some miles. Took the rings. I had to pull the engine down and re-ring it. Took all the tension out of the oil rings, and the thing started burning oil, and I was like, "Oh my God."
crap.
But all it was a sensor that didn't turn the fan on.
Bob Bishop just checked in a minute ago and says he's heard in some countries you have to demonstrate an ability to do elementary tasks like changing flat tires, jumper cables, etc., before you can get a driver's license. Yeah, good idea.
One thing is, when Samantha got her car, we had that Subaru, the tires had to be rotated. So I made her go rotate the tires. And she was all mad about that and stuff. You know, I said, I'll come out and check, and torque wrench and stuff like that. So just so you can do it. I'll be damn, a week later, she didn't get a flat on her car. But then she calls me. She says, "Dad, will construction make your car shake?" And I said, "It could." She goes, "Oh, because I don't know if it's a tire or if it's just the construction." All of a sudden, I hear a scream, and I'm yelling, "Are you okay? You okay?" "Yeah, I got it stopped." She goes, "But the rubber part came off my tire again." I'm like, son of a bitch. So she was on the expressway, and she had to change her tire, and she was all mad, calling me up. She says, "Every time I get in the trunk to get that spare out stuff, said people are beeping at me when I'm bending over." But she changed it out. She got the rubber part, and it was a Michelin, and it had like a sidewall about 1.5 inches, and it peeled it right at that really super hard sidewall. peeled the tread off of it. And I still don't know if that was her fault or not, because we were coming back from Chicago, and I was driving, and I'm starting to feel something. So I pull over, checking I had air in the tire and stuff. We got home, and the next day I took it to the tire shop, and they looked at it and said that the belts had come loose and separated in it. And since it was a Subaru, your tires have to be within 1/10 or some kind of stupid thing, because it's all-wheel drive. So I had to buy a tire and have it shaved and all this kind of stuff. And it was the second one that went bad. I said, screw it. And I ended up putting Nokians on it for about $100 more than I could get one Michelin and get it shaved. So and get it shipped in and all that kind of stuff.
That same thing with my Lincoln. I had 4 Michelin that all had tires tread separate. Michelin picked up the bill for the changing. They were still under warranty because they only had 30,000 miles on it.
These only had 20,000 on them. But when I took them, the reason why I'd have to take them back, Michelin would have warrantied them. I took it back to where they were purchased. It was in Florida. So
that sounds like a sucky rule.
Ain't that something? You gotta take them back to where you purchased them from.
Fortunately, I got mine at Sears.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got Sears everywhere.
Yeah.
I guess we still have one here in Columbia. Couldn't imagine we don't.
Well, we used to have 2 here in Grand Rapids, and I see that now it's the parking lot's still there, and there's a big old bunch of dirt where the 2-story Sears was at. And I know there was another one at a different mall, but I haven't been over there, so I don't know if that one's still open or not.
We had a standalone in my neighborhood, and then we had one in a mall. The standalone one was mostly just a tool outlet and general junk like that. They probably had electronics, but I don't know if they had a huge display of clothes and all. It was more like an outlet store.
Yeah, it was in a little strip mall kind of deal. In Greenville, they had a Sears. And basically there they had Craftsman tools. They had tractors. You could buy refrigerator stoves. It wasn't real big, but they had vacuum cleaners, stuff. Basically,
that sounds
they
like
had
the one we had.
Craftsman and what was the other one they used to call like their washing machines and stuff, and I can't remember.
Kenmore, yeah.
Kenmore, yeah. They basically had Craftsman stuff and Kenmore stuff in that store. It was a pretty cool little store.
What was their other cheaper brand? Master Mechanic, something like that.
Yeah, they had Craftsman tools, Craftsman lawnmowers, and Kenmore stuff in there.
Bob Bickus has Sears just announced another round of closures today.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that's what we've seen in New Zealand is all the local tyre manufacturers gone, and all we're getting really is tyres from China. If you want to get good quality Cooper tyres or BF Goodrich or something that comes from America, we pay 3 or 4 times the price of a Chinese tyre. So that's all we're getting largely is just Chinese made tyres now. We used to have a lot of manufacture here in New Zealand. They used to make Reed Rubber and Dunlop tyres. My uncle worked for Reed Rubber tyres, making tyres here, but all our local manufacture is now gone. There's virtually nothing made car-wise. So I hope it doesn't happen to you there.
Well, that was happening. That was really happening here until the U.S. government, Obama, they stuck a tariff on tires because they were just killing the market. They were selling stuff so much cheaper than what other tires were selling for. I mean,
there was a time maybe 10 years or so ago where there was a flood of knockoff counterfeit tires, and I think they were Chinese. And I really believe I got a set of those by accident. Well, it wasn't by accident. It was from the Goodyear store. But what was that? Kumo. I got a set of Kumos. It was worse damn tires. They wouldn't hold the road in the cold. They wouldn't hold the road in the wet, and they didn't hold the road all that great on a hot, dry day. And this was on a Mazda P5, which is like a ready-built autocross car. I mean, it came with Nankangs on it, which I think is Taiwan, and those were the best sport tires I have ever had. That car would cause blood to come out of your ears. It would take a corner so fast. And those Kumos just absolutely sucked, and they were out of balance. Never could get that car to track straight. And I bet I got some of those counterfeit tires.
Well, that was what that Kia had on there was Kumos, and that was the worst handling damn.
Was that Kia? Now Kia made a car that looked just like my Mazda P5. Was it a little hatchback? 2002 or 2003?
It was a 2004, but it wasn't a hatchback.
Okay.
It was the Rio.
That was not my. Okay, that was not my car. But
it could be on the same. I mean, a lot of them, they have the Rio, and then they had the Rio 2+1, a 5-door. That was what it was. They had the Rio 4-door and a Rio 5-door.
Yeah, that's probably a knockoff of the Mazda 3. That was the generation that superseded my P5.
Oh, okay, but that damn thing, every time you touch the brake, if it was slippery out, that car would do one complete rotation. They'll come back out of it then.
Holy shit.
They did it with me, and then my mom wrecked her car, so I let her drive that Kia. I told her, whatever you do, if it's slippery out, don't hit them brakes hard, or that thing will spin around on you. Well, she told me about 6 months later that she did it. And that's because I knew that all of a sudden. I said, you can drive it. You know, I never drive it or whatever. And she got in a big yank to get another car. And she's getting a different car. And she ended up getting a Camry. But she told me later, after she spun it around, she didn't want to drive that thing anymore. It scared her.
Yeah. Pickup trucks will do that to you, too.
Yeah,
then Samantha was driving it to school. And I told her, we were out driving, I don't know, a few nights before that and got a little bit of snow, and I took her around here. And I showed her, I said, now look it. You never brake downhill. You brake before you get to that hill and set your speed. Because you come over the top and decide you got to slow down.
Better gear down.
You're loading the front, putting more weight on the front tires, and the back tires become light. And she took off and went to school, and there's a windy road. She come around this corner, and then it dips down. Well, she's going too fast, tapped the brakes, and the damn thing spun around one complete turn and went another quarter, and she ended up at somebody's driveway.
Wow.
She called me crying. Can you come get me? Can you come get me? And stuff like that. I said, you need to come back home. Well, just come get me. I said, well, what do you do with that car? Leave it on the side of the road? I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, come back. There ain't no hills to go down or whatever. She did, and I took her to school. Then she never wanted to drive that car again.
Yeah.
But
I was always, I guess I got a gene for driving because I always had ice water in my veins. You know, I've driven out of some pretty terrible stuff that I somehow managed to drive into, and was actually proud of my skills at braking and turning and sliding when I got through with it. So I guess I'm lucky. Some people just freak out, and other people can stay cool and drive the car.
well, she got off the expressway last year, and it's a big sweeping corner. And she said she hit black ice, and the car went sideways and was going sideways down the thing, and she got it back around, and her boyfriend was just hollering, and she told him, like, you scream like a girl. Because on the one side, I mean, it goes way down. There's a guardrail there, but I mean, it goes way down. And he thought that they were going off that edge and stuff like that. And I said, you saved it, huh? She said, yeah, I got it back straight. And she goes, then we heard something. We looked back and she goes, cars were spinning out, crashing together, hitting the guardrail.
Oh my gosh. She was lucky to be in the
I
lead.
saved it. She goes, I was a better driver than him, I guess.
Damn sure was.
I said, well, you got all-wheel drive too, you know, so that might help a little bit with them Subarus getting traction. And
Well, that was good for her confidence too. But if you, I presume, have explained to her about how you handle the steering wheel when you're in a slide.
yeah, turn into the damn
Yeah.
stuff, you know. But I try to tell her too. I said, in that damn Subaru, I don't give a shit what kind of pavement it is, wet, icy, whatever. You hit the throttle and that damn thing just takes off without spinning a wheel. It just goes.
All four of them grip. Yeah.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, but you got to remember, it may go like all-wheel drive Subaru, but it stops like every other car.
Yeah.
And it does it. You know, when you go to stop, you get the skidding and all that kind of stuff and twitching around. And you can, like she did, she got it sideways.
Yeah. You got to be light, have
Good
a
advice.
light touch on the brakes. Everybody's got anti-lock brakes now, which is good and bad. People don't learn as quickly about how to drive out of stuff by using the brakes and the steering together. But when you hear wrecks off in the distance, you don't hear squealing rubber either.
Yeah.
You don't hear.
Ooh,
You see the
yeah.
dust clouds, the airbags go off, and you see these clouds of dust rising. But yeah, different, yeah.
Well, it was like, I forget what contest we're going to the Detroit contest. And there was some construction and stuff. And there's this guy in this car. And I was driving Samantha's Subaru. And I look in the mirror, you know, and I see this guy just fly up on my ass and right at the last minute slam on the brakes and drive way back, you know, and he did it the second time. I'm like, and I don't know if that guy's falling asleep or what the hell's going on, you know. And he went way back, so I changed lanes. And Samantha said, why you change lanes? I said, that guy's driving like an idiot back behind us. And all of a sudden he went by me. Boom, wham, and just totally smacked into the car in front of him.
He must have been asleep.
Yeah, and we all stopped then because he hit her. She came in our lane and hit another car. And he's like, I just got out of work. And he goes, I don't know what happened. I'm like, see, I told him, I said, he was falling asleep and then all of a sudden realizing hitting the brakes. And
Did you stop and so you stopped and did you wait for the cops to come and tell them anything?
nah, I figured since he hit that lady in the ass end so hard and his car was under hers, they probably pretty much figured out who was at fault.
Story. Yeah. Oh, excuse me for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I got to go take some batteries off the charger too. I'll be right back.
I'm leaving it to
I was going to ask Steve a question, but I'll wait.
I'll be right back.
So Ron, have you been flying any control line lately?
No, it's all RC. I don't have anybody to fly with around here.
Oh. How about a stooge?
Myself. I still got them in the garage. I've got 5 Navy carrier ships
Oh, yeah.
and 3 stunt ships, control line, and about 20 RC planes out there. Got a garage full.
I
Hey,
suppose you look.
Steve, question for you.
Yeah.
You said you went to Detroit contest this year?
No, that was, yeah, I did go to the Detroit contest this year, but that was last year that me and Samantha went.
Where do they hold it at nowadays?
Romulus.
Okay.
Right
The
there.
reason I'm asking is that's where I was born and raised, is in Detroit. We used to fly at Roos Park all the time. And I know there's still a circle there, but I didn't know if anybody was still flying there or not.
You know, it's that Romulus at a RC field.
Airport.
Yeah, yeah, RC field. They're right by the airport, not too far. You see airplanes landing all the time, so it's a little bit of ways from the airport, but it's
Yeah.
kind of weird because just you get there and you got to take a right into the field, and a quarter mile down the road on the left are all these apartments. I think they're like low-income apartments. And then
Assisted living.
huh?
Assisted living.
Yeah, or whatever they are. Well, you make a right-hand turn in there, and the thing has a Y to it. And you hang to the left, but if you go to the right, there's garden after garden after garden back in there on the one end of that where they fly.
I've seen the field on some of the YouTube pubs contests they had on there. I'm just curious. That's my old stomping grounds.
Yeah, it's nice out there. Bob McDonald, he flies there, so. But yeah, it's a nice place.
Well, we were flying on the weekend and nobody crashed. Lena flew and both boys flew. They all put in some nice flights. And the only one that crashed was Dad when I was backing up my wife's car down the drive, and I backed it into one of the other cars. And that was the only crash of the day.
No.
No, I won't live that one down for a while.
Get it, will they?
No, I won't forget it. At least I can do the panel beating. It's not too bad. But yeah, I was thinking, oh, great. No planes to repair. No, I've got a car to repair instead. I've got a bumper to repair.
Have you ever seen a car back over an airplane before?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Fortunately, I have too. It was his own plane, though.
Yeah, I had a friend that did probably backed over 18 or 19 pointer. Was just sick.
Yeah, this was too. I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah, me either. I didn't say who did it, whose airplane it was, but he was sick that he ran over someone else's airplane. But it wasn't there, and then it was there or something, I don't know, and all of a sudden he backed over it, so I really don't know what the deal was. Sounded like somebody was coming in. I heard a tune.
Oh, that was a email coming into me.
Oh, okay.
It was announcing our club meeting at the Congaree Flyers on July 21st.
Okay.
Damn, I got a club meeting on the 28th too. That's the one up at Duck's Museum.
Yeah,
I gotta run out to my work, man. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, that's on the 28th. We're having a picnic, or I guess you'd call it a cookout meeting, and we have it up at one of our members' house in North Carolina every July, and he's got a museum. It is an honest to God museum, and I don't know how he gets all of those engines so clean and so oiled. Maybe it's because he has a meeting there every year, but these things always look like they were done yesterday. And even the ancient old machines that are just sitting around on shelves in the back room look like they've just been cleaned and oiled. I don't know how he does it. He must spend a heck of a lot of time in that place, but it's beautiful. He's got pre-flight control line, plastic, static, and he's got some remote control stuff. He's got millions of kits and just everything. I think I've got a video of that place sometime. It's built in a garage apartment, and it's environmentally controlled, extremely well lit, beautifully laid out with lighted shelving and rotating glass trays to display engines and things like that. It's really a sight to behold. But we have a meeting at his house. He's got a field that he mows, and it's not a top-notch control line field, but it's plenty good enough if you throw a piece of fiberglass sheeting out there to use as a runway, and it's friendly, and I think it's a hay field that he mows, and it's friendly because when you hit the ground, it's fairly soft, so you can clobber the ground and live to fly again. But, we always cook hamburgers, hot dogs on the grill. It's always fun. That's one of the meetings I make sure I put on my list each year. Always in July, and it's always 110 degrees, but it's got good shade trees, and if it's too hot for me to fly, I'll just watch everybody else fly.
That sounds excellent. It sounds like the type of meeting you're really cutting us out.
I gotta be thinking about what I'm going to fly, because I'm so out of practice that I don't want to go out there with my flagship twister and put it in the air. And I broke the P-40 the flight after we finally got it trimmed, and so I could take something out there like the shoestring or the Yak 9 that wouldn't kill me if I wrecked it. But
have you got any slow combat models that get you up in the air?
All I've got is half A combat and half A, which I'll probably take some half A planes. If I hadn't flown half A over at the church by the time that meeting comes, then I'll take some half A, my Flight Streaks and my Little Satan and those up there, and I can always fly them. And if you wreck them, it doesn't really hurt them anyway.
Yeah,
have you been getting any flying in at all, Rusty?
Not since I wrecked the P-40, the brand new P-40. I just realized I'm not up to it, because I keep letting go of the handle. My hand just cannot hold on to the handle. And I got carpal tunnel surgery a few weeks back. I guess it was in May or early June now. And I'm hoping that it's going to get better. And sometimes I think I'm getting a little feeling. Sometimes I'm not so sure, but the muscles aren't built back up. So I got to find some way to tie my hand to the handle to keep it from coming off, even if I don't have the control. Because I think this finger is completely dead pretty much. And that's the one that it slips out from first, I believe. And this one won't straighten out on its own. That's as far as it'll go there. So you'd think that would be a good thing, but somehow it gets out of there too and just goes free, and all I got is the lanyard on my wrist. And
could you wrap a bandage around your hand to bandage the handle to your hand?
Yeah. Thing is, I don't fly with a death grip on the handle, but if I could just do something to keep it from getting all the way off of my fingers and still be able to manipulate it like this, then I'd be okay. And I hope once I get some feeling back, I can get some muscle back in at least that finger too. I can still move it, but that's all I can.
Got you in therapy or anything?
Not really. I'm too far gone all over the rest of my body to do much of rehabilitation of anything. I think I'm just going to work with what I got and try to, do exercises on my own, I guess. But
right, get a rubber ball.
Right now, the more I exercise it, the worse the nerves get, and then I'll completely lose all feeling again. So, like I said, it's just tenuous. I don't know if I think it's coming back some days, and other days I still can't rub it on something and feel anything. So
get you a piece of baling wire and wrap it around your middle finger, and then when you get out there and get in the handle, run that baling wire around your wrist.
Yeah.
At least one finger can't.
I'm thinking about doing something a little gentler than that with Velcro and fabric.
Oh, yeah, I thought a bandage, one of those elastic bandages would do the trick.
Like an ace bandage?
Yeah.
I wonder if you remember the old the tar they stuck on baseball bats.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah.
If you could put that on your handle and some on your hand and see if that wouldn't help.
It was pine tar. It might.
Oh,
You know?
Velcro, glove and Velcro on your handle. That might be another way. If you could get a woolen glove and then put Velcro on the handle, then it would hold your fingers in. But yeah, that might be uncomfortable.
Put the hook side on the handle and put the loop side on because the wool would act like the loop side. That would stick together. That's probably a good idea. I'm gonna come up with something. I'm not gonna give up.
I still think if they drill a hole right on through your hand and put a piece of music wire through it, and you could put a couple loops in there,
bend it to
and
whatever
your lines on that thing, and just have your hand like that all the time. Just have a permanent rod in your hand.
Yeah.
Tell people it's keep my knuckles hooked up.
Well, if I have my hand amputated, I'll get them to put a handle on it instead. Yeah, instead of
I did ask the doctor if he could amputate this finger right here or maybe right here so that it wouldn't always push on the right mouse button when I'm trying to do stuff and screw everything I'm doing up. And he laughed, and I said, "What? Do y'all ever do voluntary amputations? You know, partial amputations?" And he said, "We have, but I don't think he was too keen on the idea."
Well, that was like Ken's mom there tried to kick me, and I put my hand out, and the heel of her shoe hit me at the end of my finger and shoved my whole finger back in my hand. My fingernail was right about where a ring would go.
Oh, that's terrible.
So they pulled it all out, and it busted that knuckle really bad. And they said, "Well, we'll have to pull that out, and it probably won't work anymore. It won't bend. It'll just stick straight out." And I'm like, "You got to cut that off then." And he said, "What?" And I said, "I work in a damn electrical panels all the time. I can't have a finger poking out there touching on
right
440 or 480 or whatever." You know, I said, "I'll kill myself, you know, if I can't, you know where my finger's at." So he said something about it. He said, "Well, I was just at a deal in Florida where they were showing a special thing they made up. They run pins through the bones and stuff like that, and they can pull it all out and keep a gap in it. Well, it's all bent to hell, but I actually can bend it. It just bends. It doesn't bend straight. It bends over in the middle of my hand now. But at least I can use it fairly well." And I had to sign papers and that I wouldn't hold the company responsible and all this kind of stuff, and they could take pictures. And so I was the guinea pig. They never had anything built, so they sent the prototype. They were taking around and showing these surgeons, see what they thought.
Let's please stop talking about this. I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot
Too much
around it anymore. This shit drives me crazy. I mean, I'm sorry, Steve, but I just can't process this anymore. That's pretty terrible. So somebody kicked at you or kicked you?
She tried to kick me where girls shouldn't kick guys.
Oh, and you put a defensive hand.
First thing I did is just stick my hand out to block it.
Oh, yeah. God.
She had like 1-inch heels on some regular shoes.
Yeah.
And the heel caught me right in the end of my finger and just, it didn't hurt.
Nah, you go into instant shock or something when you get bad injuries like that sometimes.
It felt like I got stung by a bee. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh my God, you know? So I grabbed it and kind of pulled it part way out. And I went to the hospital and they pulled it the rest of the way out. And they sent me home. They said, take some Tylenol if you need something for pain. And that's all I had, you know, because they don't want to give you any opioids or whatever, even back then, you know. So, but it never hurt. I don't know why. It seems like it would kill, but it never really hurt. So, but I talked to the doctor here. I guess they got, and that might be with you, Rusty, where your one finger don't want to move. Because I got some that only go halfway now and stuff. He said they got new joints for the fingers.
I asked him about that, and he said, hell no, not with me. He said it would never heal.
Oh, I see, because your bones don't heal that good?
Yeah.
That sucks. But yeah, I never heard of that. But I heard from 2 people now because of my knees. I talked to this guy at my first job at a skating rink. He had one knee replaced, and he went back, and his doctor retired, so they gave him a new doctor, and he's going to get the other one replaced. And the doctor told him they can take stem cells from your hip and grow them and then inject them in your knee. And he said the one that they did that to is 25% better than the one they did the knee replacement on. And then I talked to a guy at work that played professional hockey, ice hockey, and he's got problems with his knee. And he said that's what some association for ice hockey or whatever says now to do. So did you fly that one this weekend, Gerald?
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the combat models I dug out of my parents' attic, and I put an old Fox 36 on it. And I took it up and I was flying it around. The next thing, Otto's in there, and he's saying, I want to fly it, Dad, I want to fly it. So he got to fly it. It was pretty quick with the Fox on it, quite a small model, but the motor got a bit hot. And I'll probably have to open up that muffler, like I think you were saying, Rusty, that you have to take the baffles out.
Yeah.
So I'll try a smaller prop first, because I've already drilled out the outlet. I've drilled the outlet on it a bit, and I'll go to a 9. It's a 9.6 on it now. I had a 9.5 by 6, so I'll see if that lightens the load a bit with the prop. But it's a bit nosy with the muffler.
I was reading some threads on Stunthangar recently, and some engines like the baffles and some engines don't like the baffles. So I don't remember the details, though. I think they were talking about LA-25s or something, and it was one of those conversations with Randy and Brett and all those guys, and yeah, but evidently some engines like the baffles, but I've always been a big supporter of gutting them, you know, getting them out and getting better results out of the engine runs.
Yeah, I think the older engines were designed to run without a muffler, so putting a restrictive muffler on it, they don't like them, whereas a lot of the newer designs have put more cooling on them, bigger fins, the ABC, ABN, they seem to tolerate the heat better.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's an older model, an older lapped iron steel piston motor, so it was fun to fly it, I have to say. Not a tight turning model, being a vintage model. I can't remember the name. Sparky mentioned the name of it.
He did. Yeah, that's right. I remember when he did, but I don't know. I don't remember either.
It looks like a bat. Is it something bat?
No, I don't think it was, but it
kind of reminds me of a bat for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, those older combat models tend to look fairly similar, but that one's quite a different platform. It's not like the Voodoo, you know, the Riley Wooten one. Yeah, it's a bit like some of the English ones, but it's bigger, obviously a lot bigger to fit a 35. So
now, is that a Fox 35 or a 36?
It's a 36, but it's the slant plug 36. It's the one that Fox brought out in the early 70s for slow combat. And they had a longer shaft on the RC one, so I've used an RC one to get a little bit more crankshaft length. And they have the RC one's got the removable venturi. The control one's got a molded-in venturi. And the molded-in venturi, the needle valve would be very vulnerable. This one with that one's the molded-in venturi model there. I was thinking of using that, but I won't be able to replace the needle valve if I break it. Whereas what I used was the
Yeah, they're hard to come by now too.
Yeah, the radio version. I've just used my own Venturi, and I've angled the spray bar back so that you can land inverted and not take out your spray bar. Hi, Charles.
Hey,
Hey,
Charles.
what's up, guys?
Hey, Charles.
Actually,
I've
just,
been running an 8.8 on that, Gerald.
Sorry?
536. I put an 8.8 on it.
8.8, yeah.
And it spins up good. Mine likes to turn. It'll turn more RPM with that 8.8.
Yeah, well, I was too big. I was 9.5 by 6. But I've gone down to a 9.6. I'll see if I can find an 8.8, but they're getting hard to get props of that size now.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I still have a few left, but that's what. And I don't know where I got them from. But I think they're APC 8.8s.
Yeah, I've got some old Tornado nylons, but they're getting a bit old. They might not be safe to use.
we're talking about a Fox engine.
Yeah, the old Fox 36.
Yeah, I flew my Fox 35 when I first started flying it with a APC 9.6, and eventually tried different things and ended up with a 10. I forget if it was an APC 10.5 or 10.4, but one of those seemed to make it work good too. So that's what I left on it. But I never flew that plane enough to really get a feel for the engine. As long as it ran good enough to fly circles and loops with, that's about all I ever did with the Yak 9.
Who makes all the Venturis and stuff? What's his name?
That's several people. Every time I want to say Jim Lee, somebody says
Jim
something
Lee.
else.
That's who it is. His Fox 35 Stunt, he runs with an 8.8, and you can't believe it don't sound like a Fox 35 you ever heard before. That thing just flies that BG or whatever he has that in. In old time, it flies it so nice.
Yeah, it's like a combat prop on a stunter. It seems unusual.
Yeah, he just turns up the RPM. It doesn't break or nothing. Hardly any break to it.
Just
And
a
that
solid
thing just
two, yeah.
really flies that thing nice. I'm pretty sure he told me 8.8. I would have never thought that for a stunt prop.
Just a solid two-stroke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you been up to, Charles?
Just everything but model airplanes, unfortunately.
Busy life,
Yeah,
eh?
some days you just got to kind of knock off a little bit. And
Yeah, I've been working with a friend of mine, and it's been good. You know, help out make some extra income and stuff. And so that's what I've been doing.
I appreciate you taking the initiative to start a show up last week.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I figured I'd take up the slack. And
he even let me on, Rusty.
What'd you say, Steve?
He even let me on. He didn't block me or nothing.
He let Ron Hess on.
Yeah,
Ron Hess came in the first night I was there. That was pretty cool.
I'm back on again.
Tonight too.
Getting straightened out.
I asked him if he finally paid Rusty off so he wouldn't block him, but he said he got on when Rusty wasn't there, and I'm like, oh.
He paid for my beach house.
Yeah.
It's fault, Charles's fault. You guys are talking to me.
It's, you know, I was noticing on the stunt on the previous shows, if you see the thumbnail of me, I'm always wearing a green shirt. I mean, it's like I got to change my routine around or something.
You like the color green, huh?
I guess so. It's just like a lot of my flying shirts are green, and I wear green shorts that are kind of a what do you call it? Cargo shorts without the pockets. They're camouflage.
Cargo.
I must have like 3 pair of green ones, and so I have a lot of green shirts to complement my shorts. You know, but they're all different. But when you look at the thumbnail, all you see is just, you know, just around my neck, you see it green. You don't know there's a different flying shirt.
Yeah, talk about camouflage. Now they got flashlights at the supply houses that are camouflage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, give an old guy a damn flashlight.
Yeah,
that's camouflage. We can't remember where you put shit anyway.
Drop it in
And now
grass.
you're going to camouflage it to even make it harder to find.
I know.
You can't remember where he put it.
Yeah, this old guy can't even find a bright one, not to mention camouflage.
Yeah, I told him, I said that I needed one fluorescent green. Oh, yeah, there it is over there.
So what's the best color for a handle then? What's the most visible color for a control line handle? That's another question.
Orange would be my guess, because when I paint circles out in the grass like we used to do at Fort Jackson, we've tried yellow paint, orange paint, red paint, and I can't see any of them from the pit area. But if I make an orange circle, it's instantly visible, and so I figured the same would apply to a handle.
I might try that.
Well,
Hey,
it depends on what you got. Fluorescent green, they say now, is the most visible color. That's why first we had orange vests.
I tried yellow too.
Green vests that we can't, because they're supposed to be, your eyes see them faster than orange. And before that, it was always school bus yellow.
Yeah,
That's
I
why school
tried
buses
yellow
were
too,
painted.
and I couldn't see it in the grass at all. And this is just a marker paint that you hold upside down and spray a stripe about, I guess, about 3 feet wide or so, just so you can see it out of your peripheral vision while you're flying.
Yeah, well, I can kind of see why fluorescent green wouldn't work on grass.
No.
But orange is superior by a long shot to every other color I've tried.
White actually works pretty good too.
It might, yeah.
Yeah, it's against the background, and the grass and for most of the year here is all bright green. It wouldn't go with fluorescent green, but we get the yellowy colors of summer, and you can't see a yellow handle. So we've got 4 handles that we want to paint. Yeah, orange sounds like it's the one to go for. Maybe orange with some white stripes, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so.
I know on airplanes, I still think yellow and is the easiest one to see. Orange, I can pick up orange, but if it's a little dark outside, orange will go to black a little bit quicker than yellow does in shade.
I just highlighted Dennis Nunez's window. He's got his plate on the table in primer.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Dennis.
Hey.
It looks good.
Yep.
It's almost ready to paint.
Looks like that little guy's ready to go.
Yeah, he's all in there. He's set.
Now, what kind of a primer is that, Dennis?
That's the 540.
Okay.
Primer.
Yep, I recognize the color.
How many
Now,
coats of primer did you paint and sand off?
What's that?
How many coats of that primer did you paint and sand off?
One initial, and then just a touch up after that.
Oh, very good.
Now, are you gonna put a mist coat of the primer over the whole thing to?
No, I'll go. But I went over it with clear, so it's ready for the base color.
I mean, now are you gonna spray any more on the fuselage or not?
No, that's it.
You left your wings all completely gray, though. It looks like they're completely gray.
No, it just looks that way. But
oh, okay, there we go.
It's all sanded off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about next time using Brodak primer, and because it's white, and make the whole airplane with a base coat, for the reason that when we sprayed Samanthas with the white, we end up having to put another coat on there because you could see the primer in spots over the bare wood.
Yeah.
You know, so we ended up having to spray another coat on there to hide go back around and hide all the primer spots that were dark.
I had the same problem and came up with the same solution you did, Steve. And for some reason, I thought that DC 540 might have been made by Duplicolor because of the DC. And so I went to the auto store and got sandable primer, white, made by Duplicolor. And it was made to go with the acrylic lacquer Duplicolor paint that I was using. And I sprayed that stuff on there, and it went on like a rock. I might as well have been trying to sand granite off. It wouldn't come off, and I mean, I put some elbow grease into it, and made marks on that plane. Needed refilling. It was just a disaster. So, test it out on a test board. Dope a test board, then, or don't. Just put primer on it and sand it, and see if it really does sand off before you commit to putting it on a model.
Well, what I found is I used it on another one, and I'm about ready to paint that. But it didn't spray out good, and it took a long time to dry and everything. And I talked to John Paris, and he said he cuts his 75-25, really thins it out, and then it's more like the DC 540.
Yeah.
It'll dry within 15 minutes, and
yeah, DC is
I
almost
must not have had enough damn
ready.
Thinner in it, and I had to open up the nozzle or pull the pin far enough back to spray out that thick stuff, and that went on thick, and then I had to sand my ass off. But he said that if you thin it way out, I don't know if he uses DC 540 whatever, but I put it over DC 540 and it works.
Yeah.
But he said he was using that, and then he had a nice constant white to paint any color over. White goes over super easy, and if you back mask and stuff like that, he said that then your oranges and reds and stuff like that won't, show up real nice. You won't get dark spots, so that's what I'm gonna try on my Cavalier when we get back. I should have that finished then.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
After I get the 540 on, after I sand the 540 all off, and I touch up areas, then I just shoot it with a light coat of clear over the whole thing, and to make sure that I didn't bust through on any of the paper or anything, get fuzzies.
Oh, okay.
And then looking for dents and so forth. I found a couple of them I got to repair, but no, it's almost, as soon as I finish up the canopy here, the fillets are on the canopy. It'll be ready for the base coat. I'm going to have it insignia blue.
Oh, okay.
I like that color. I've used that color of monocoat a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure what color. That was insignia blue that we used on Samantha's for the blue. I know it was Pontiac red, and I can't remember what blue it was.
I think my red monocoat's been missile red.
Yeah, I don't know, when we used to fly RC, I forget, it was like a 1964, God, I can't think of the bus's name. It was not Bluebird. It was one of these school bus yellows, and then we painted it 1964 Pontiac red, and I think it was a 65 color on the blue. Some Pontiac blue, and it was a real bright blue. But yeah, we used to use DuPont. That's what. Then we went over the whole thing with Emron. But
that turned out to be bad stuff after.
Oh yeah.
After they used it for a while, I realized it was not quite as wonderful as it sounded. I remember when it first came out, it was the thing to have, but that kind of fell off the face of the planet.
Yeah, my brother, he's going to try some Clasco.
I've heard good things about that.
Well, yeah, the one guy that came out there the day that you were there, he was flying also.
I think that was Max.
Was that Max?
Yeah.
And Max. He had his airplanes look nice. And he said he was using Clasco, and then he was clearing it though with automotive, was it polyester?
No, you know what? That was Don Jenkins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he had really nice looking airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah, Don built some nice stuff. a guy in the club, Keith Palmer, is an expert builder. He is a transplant RC guy that's come over to the control line side, and he's a master builder, and taught Don how to do all that stuff. And Don took to it like a fish to water. He's really good at it now.
Well, that's good. Yeah, his stuff looked nice. Hey, did you hear any more about the one guy there that when we were there that came up and had cancer?
Yeah, that was John Gibson. I've called him on the phone and talked to him a couple of times, and he's pretty near the end of the road. I'm glad you mentioned his name. Maybe I'll give him a call tomorrow, because he's thinking about moving up to Canada to live out his last days, because that's where his woman is, and she doesn't want any part of moving to North Carolina rather. That's where John lives.
Yeah, did he do any chemo, or did he decide not to do the chemo? And
last I heard, he was getting some kind of treatments, but I didn't press him on the details. We just talked about airplanes and life in general, and I called him for that purpose, just to help get his mind off of his ills, and so we didn't go deeply into all of that. And he'll talk about it, but sometimes you just need a break. So
well, yeah, I mean, it just kind of floored me, when he's talking, they're asking how he's doing and stuff like that, and he just came and said, well, he was having X-rays for something else, and they found that tumor or whatever, and
yeah,
it was stage 5, and
yeah, he's got rheumatoid arthritis all over too. He's in serious pain 24/7.
Yeah, maybe that was what they were doing, X-rays, checking joints or something, and found that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was sad, because he was getting ready. He was planning on going to the Nats and all that kind of stuff, and
yeah, he's a pylon.
He's still going to go this year, no matter what. But,
U-40 pylon is his preferred sport of all.
Oh, okay.
He's an expert at that. But they build beautiful planes too.
Yeah, that was really sad. He had his airplanes and all that kind of stuff ready to go to the Nats, and
yeah, he's one of those guys that won't go to the doctor.
Okay.
And his significant other insisted, so he did, and looks like he waited
too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just when he's 65, I think he said.
That's probably about right. He looked younger than me up until recently. I've known him for 5 or 6 years now, and yeah, I thought he was younger than me, but he doesn't look younger than me anymore.
Yeah, it's you retire and you got all these plans, and then bang,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's too bad. So where are you living now, Ron?
Tampa, outside of Tampa.
Oh, okay. A snowbird.
Are you a fisherman?
No, I had a cabin cruiser for about 8 or 9 years, cruising around Tampa Bay, but never got heavy into the fishing. Then I got transferred up to North Carolina. I was in Selma, North Carolina for 5, 6 years, right on 95.
What was your job?
Sales. I was in sales, and then I went into marketing. We had a plant outside of Raleigh.
What did you sell?
Electrical switches. You guys are into panels, Cutler Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, worked for them for 30 years.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here.
I tell you what, that damn, them switches and stuff like that, that's such a cutthroat shit and thing. You got a supply house, they're selling Cutler Hammer, and you end up putting all that stuff in, and then like 5 years later, they switch over to Square D or one of the other ones,
change it all over again.
Yeah, and then it's like, but I need this one. I got all the attachments and everything for this. We deal with this brand now. Well, who the hell's dealing with that? Well, nobody. It's like, you know, and I told him, I said, as soon as I would change everything over, you're going to change back to Cutler Hammer.
Of course.
Dennis has got, it's out of, yeah, that's a profile on the table now. Circulus. You got a lot of sixes in your number.
It kind of looks like Pathfinder a little bit.
It does, but
That's what everybody says, but trust me, it's not a Pathfinder.
Yeah, nose wheel's in the wrong place.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe he made a tail dragger out of a Pathfinder or something. Or reworked it. That's not near as big as a Pathfinder, is it?
It does sit up pretty straight.
It's bigger?
Yeah, it's bigger than a Pathfinder.
How many squares is that?
That's let's see, it was 605.
Wow.
That's a 48 or 56 inch wingspan.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I believe you showed us that plane before.
Yeah, 56.
Oh, okay. That was the size airplane we were supposed to. Well, I didn't want to go no bigger than 620 on Samantha's. Hers ended up at 650. I wish we'd have made it a little bit smaller though. But she's saying with this new Igor system, it doesn't wind up in the wind like her other airplane. So we flew yesterday, and hell, we had gusts up to 20 miles an hour and stuff. And she says, you definitely can feel it out there on the end of the lines.
Wow. Well, you guys are going to convince me to get back into this thing.
What you got?
Oh, let's see. Let me click on you, Ron.
Raise it up a little bit, Ron.
Yeah, pick it up higher.
Oh,
Peacemaker. Very cool.
Peacemaker. Top flight Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. Wow, I didn't know the Peacemaker was built up. I thought it was a profile.
The tag on the end of the box says $7.95.
Oh my goodness.
Now buy paper.
A while.
I got one in this room here someplace. I don't know where the hell it's at.
What's the wood look like in that box?
It's good. It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, I made a bad mistake. On that airplane, it's got a K&B 29, I think.
It's all right.
And I found one, and God, the guy, I forget what the guy wanted for it. He wanted like $65 or whatever. He only had 50 on me, and I'm like, yeah, let me go find my brother. I'll borrow some money, so I don't got to go to an ATM. So I find my brother, get $15, go back there, and I'll be damned if it wasn't gone.
Oh, God.
And I should have gave him 50 to hold it till I went and found my brother. But I'm thinking, who in the hell's going to buy a K&B 29 that has the exhaust pointing in at you?
Yeah, reversed.
Oh, yeah. I hate that.
The old torpedoes.
Yeah, and it was the S, which meant stand for stunt.
I've got one, actually.
Oh, do you? You got 29S?
I think it's brand new, too.
No shit. But I was going to put
the old greenheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old greenhead. I was going to do that, and Samantha, we never built it. It was given to Samantha, which, you know, everything's just given to her. So, hey, you want this? Yeah. Want to? Yeah. Oh.
Almost every engine I fly was given to me.
Oh, no kidding. Hold on 1 minute. I'll see if I can find this one. This other one's really cool. We haven't built it yet.
What's the wingspan, Ron, on that Peacemaker?
This thing is a 46-inch span, 414 squares, and recommended engine is 15 to 29.
Okay.
I definitely put the 29 on it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to build that, huh?
Well, I'm eventually going to have to do something with it because it's been sitting in my closet for 20 years.
Yeah.
Good.
Get
Very
yourself,
good.
if you got a building board,
Oh, you betcha. I got a whole garage full.
Very good.
yeah, let's
Guys, I've got 5 carrier ships out there, 3 stunt ships, and about 20 RC.
if you'll start building that Peacemaker, I promise I'll go out there and finish building my Cardinal. That poor old thing's just been sitting there.
If that's what it takes to get you to build a Cardinal, I'm going to do it.
Well, that sounds
right.
good.
Fuselage is done. It's just waiting on the
Can you
wing.
see that one?
Let me click on you.
Red wing.
Red Wing Junior.
Let me click on that to highlight it.
What is a Red Wing
Combat
Junior?
and trainer.
What's cool? Well, it was made here. It was made in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Oh shit! I'm gonna throw stuff all over the place. But what I thought was neat about it is it's got a metal rudder
Oh, gee.
Holy crap.
and a little metal tail drag.
Wow.
But there's your full-size plans that aren't really full-size.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But it was made by Darwin. And
They used to build fuel tanks too.
yeah, it has a picture of the fuel tanks there,
Yeah.
and it's like you got 2 pieces, and it bolts. You bolt through the profile part of it.
Holy crap.
It's got
I
a
don't
hole.
think I would
It's
do
got
that.
2 holes in the back where the rudder goes, and 1 in the front. And you bolt that together,
Huh.
and then the rudder bolts on. It's all pre-hinged. But I don't know if you guys know who Gary Lutz is.
Yeah, I know Gary Lutz.
You know who he is, Ron? He was from the Ann Arbor area.
Doesn't ring a bell.
He's flown all of his life and stuff. But he worked for this company in Ann Arbor when he was a kid.
Oh, okay.
But I told Samantha, I don't know if we'll build it or not. This thing is from
Say that I know Gary. I met him at Brodax. I
yeah.
actually shot some video. He went to do a tutorial on how to finish. I just never posted it, but I've been meaning to post it. It's a pretty good interview of how he had his
Right, his dream girl.
when I was there. He had a war plane. What plane was that? World War II plane.
Oh yeah, that's no longer. That was a I think a Hawker Hurricane.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Oh, was it the Tempest?
No, I think it was the Hawker Hurricane.
Okay, yeah, the other one that he paints up regular is a Tempest. Yeah, Hawker Hurricane.
Beautiful plane.
Yeah, that engine quit on overhead 8. Came to transition and just it was a newer engine. Quit on him, and he said he couldn't save it.
And all of a sudden the line's coiling up at your feet. Yeah.
Oh, it's too bad. Oh, it's terrible. That was a really
That's
beautiful plane.
I've flown that stunt before.
In fact, I think I could find a picture of that plane if you want to screen share it.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That was a pretty plane.
Yeah, he does a nice job. Now he's got a Cheetah that he flies, and then he's got them 2 Dream Girls, but I think he's kind of retired them because they had his daughter's pictures on them. And then what else? A Shark 45. That's what he flew at Brodak this year.
I like those Sharks. Those are cool looking planes.
But he ended up putting a 61 on there because I told him, I'm like, why would you fly a 45 on a damn 650 square inch wing span while you fly a 61 on a 610 or 620? You know, and it's like, go with bigger and fly less motor. But 45, I guess at the time, was as big as they had for that.
Yeah, I think they used the Cam Beal, Vico 45.
Yeah.
Lou McFarlane's great model. Yeah, they did a smaller version.
Yeah, a 35. Yeah, Shark 35. But you could actually put a 35 on that and fly it. It was that much smaller, but yeah. So I'm not, 100% sure why people do that. But so he ended up sticking a Rojet 61 on that Shark 45, and it flies good.
We got some action in the Nunez window. A little polishing going on.
Yeah.
Just cleaning up some oil. I flew it today, so got some grease on it.
Yeah, we had some really nice weather here today. I mean, it was bad yesterday before the storm came through and stuff, but yeah, 85, and at first there was just about 2-mile-an-hour breeze or so, and then it died down. But I'm like, damn, that's almost like San Diego weather.
Flying in dead air is scary. Charles has got a picture up now.
The hurricane.
Oh man, look at that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful plane. I have a few more pictures, I think. Let me see here.
That's a big plane.
Yeah, that had a Rojet 76 in it.
That's a Hawker Hurricane?
Yeah. And
that's the underside of it.
It's a Hawker Tempest, I think.
That is the Tempest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got the cowl of a Tempest. And
hey, look who just showed up. Jamie Holford just hit us with a super chat. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Jamie.
Yeah.
You got the Tempest? I don't know what it is, but it was beautiful. I thought he said it was a Hawker.
I still think.
Look at the front cowl. Look at the cowl.
Yeah.
Well, Hawker made like a Hawker.
Yeah, Hawker made the Tempest and the Hurricane and the Typhoon. Hawker's the same manufacturer. So they've got similar tails, but they've got a slightly different. The Tempest has got the low chin cowl. Yeah, yeah.
Boy, that's got a lot of airflow around that engine.
Yeah.
But I still think that the exhaust was too short on it. That was the problem. It was getting hot.
First, I didn't see what place that was, but he got him a trophy.
Oh, that wasn't
Gary.
That guy, I think he got. Let me see. Go back. I think he got first beginner. I think. Let's see here. First place, profile beginner, and I wish I could tell you his name, but it looks like he's from NV. What, that'd be in Nevada. I mean,
yeah, and NVCL, yeah, Nevada Control Line. I don't think it's NY.
Yeah. So yeah, I just talking about Gary, and I have a video of him going through how he put that finish on.
Show the bottom of it.
Okay, let me see here. There's the bottom.
Yeah, see
the elliptical wings.
Well, he's got that. I wish you could zoom on it, but
I mean, I might be able to.
I still think that
I can come in a little bit more. Is that enough, or me going more?
Yeah, well, you can see it's just a header pipe, and it's got that damn piece of tubing on it, and I just don't think it's long enough. And it made that engine get hot.
Is that tubing, or is that just the stinger on the muffler? Yeah, it is a piece of tubing.
Yeah, it's a piece of rubber tubing on there.
Yeah.
But you can see how short that stinger is, and I told him that because he still has that motor and everything, that he needs to look into Kaz's muffler like Sparky's got. A lot more area to let that exhaust expand and cool down.
Do you think the hole was too small? Is that what you're saying, or?
No, I think the hole, and then that, and they're just not big enough around and long enough.
Yeah,
if that came out into here, and you really gave that exhaust some place to expand.
Yeah, it might be good if it was taller than the bottom of the cowl and get in some fresh air. It could be in a vacuum cavity right there, sort of.
And
Yeah.
it's like with Samantha's Rojet 76, we pitched it up to a 13 6-pitch 3-blade and ran it a lot richer, and then it ran a lot better because it was the same thing. It has that header on there, and I just don't think there's enough flow, and it just makes them engines run hot.
Well, they say when you go up in volume, you can go down in exhaust size, but if you've got a small volume muffler, you've got to have a bigger outlet. I can't remember if it was Randy Smith or somebody talking about that on Stunthangar. But yeah, there's that relationship that if your volume's small, you've got to have a bigger outlet. That's why a lot of the modern motors, if like the the special power box mufflers, they're a huge muffler, and they've got a very small outlet, but it's that huge area of that it's able to absorb the sound over. It's like a lot of automotive mufflers. The modern cars tend to have massive mufflers compared to an old car from the 50s. We've got these huge chambers to allow the sound to expand inside and not stifle the power.
Right, and it's allowing the gas to expand. It's superheated. You know, then once it cools, it goes back down and can be pushed out through a smaller venturi. But
it's especially hot after coming through the catalytic converter too.
Yeah.
Jamie Holford, I didn't notice it. He said he acquired another Cardinal this weekend.
But he doesn't have YouTube right now, or
I don't know.
or something.
He just came on the chat box and gave us a super chat and told us about the Cardinal. And he also said that was a Tempest about the same time y'all.
Oh, Tempest. Okay. Hold on, I gotta take some batteries off the charger. There's beeping at me.
All righty.
Yeah, don't let them get overheated. I'm sure that charger shuts off when it's finished, but I never ever leave one. Jamie says work early. I guess that means he's got to go to work early. So we're about to sign off here in about 10 minutes anyway.
I'll have to go and check on my boys again. They got home and I got them an afternoon tea, and they're doing popcorn and cooking things up themselves. So I have to keep an eye on what they're doing. They're pretty good now. They're getting to that age now where I can trust them behind the handle and trust them in the kitchen.
That's good.
Right.
Oh, he's watching in bed.
Jamie said he's watching in bed, so we're just boring him to sleep. We didn't start talking about airplanes till about 11:15. Thank you, Gerald, for coming back and showing us an airplane and getting us off the other topic.
You get distracted with all life's woes, and it's nice to actually see some planes too, isn't it? It's great seeing. I saw Sparky's model early in the thing. Well, I was still doing household chores around here, and I saw he had hollowed out his fuselage. It was looking good.
Yeah,
hollowed out the block and stuff.
Yeah, it's looking really good. I don't know if it's all glued together. I didn't ask him that, but it's ready for paint. So I guess it is glued together. Nice looking plane though.
Yeah, it's a fast builder. It puts most of us modelers to shame anyway.
Yeah, is anybody going to be flying on July 4th?
Party.
No, I'm not. That's what, Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not where I can fly.
Yeah,
Watch that swimming party till about 2 o'clock, and by that time it gets so hot you don't want to go out and fly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're gonna have a kind of a small little fly-in.
Okay, just lay down. I'll get her in a little bit.
I would. I'd definitely call it a good day to fly because, nothing else is really going on. But I got dialysis that day, so pretty much shoots a day for me.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many flyers I'm going to have, but probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 people maybe.
That's
So,
a good crowd. I'm lucky if we get 2 or 3.
yeah.
Any is better than, 2 people. It's fun to go out and fly, but with 3 or 4, it's more relaxing for me because you can sit and talk and watch and
Yeah, exactly. You have time
somebody else
between.
is flying.
That's all I ever do when I go out flying, to sit, talk, and watch.
Yeah. Well, with 2 people, it's your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. And
Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah, with 3, it's nice. It's a nicer pace. Yeah, with just 2, it's just, you're just rotating. You don't get a chance to really talk because you're either one's flying or one's getting
yeah.
ready to fly.
And me and
Samantha wishes I'd fly so that we could rotate.
Wayne still sit around in our chairs and talk and take long breaks between flights. But then I end up getting 2 or 3 flights for the day. He ends up getting 2 or 3. I don't fly near as many as some of you guys do. I've heard Charles say he's flown lots of flights, like 8 or 10 flights, and
Yeah.
I never get that many in a day. I could sure use that much practice, but I don't have the stamina to fly that many either. But
Yeah, that's when sometimes my kids will say, "Well, that's not exercise." And I go, "You know what? Plane is probably going about 60 miles an hour. It weighs about 5 pounds. So that's exercise."
it's
You
a lot
gotta
of
walk
walking.
60 foot out and 60 foot back. It's exercise.
That's what I was about to say. It's a lot of walking, running the lines out, hooking up, walking back, and carrying other people's planes or handles out to the circle. And you walk a few
And
miles.
then, like with me, I get to bend over a lot, pick up pieces. So,
I have perfected the perfect figure 9.
Very good. But Ron, you need to have someone else fly that plane. Make sure it's trimmed right
Why, of course.
before you
I've got
fly.
to update my stuff. Things like adjustable lead outs, a weight box. When I built the planes in my garage, they didn't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a nice club there by you, someplace in Tampa, St. Pete area, isn't there?
There's one down in Palmetto, which is about 20 miles south of here.
Oh, okay.
Between Tampa and Sarasota. The club down there has got a circle, and I want to say this, there's a couple brothers named Smith.
Oh yeah, the Smith brothers. Yeah, they make the handles. That's what Samantha flies with, the Smith brother handle.
Okay, that's probably them then.
Oh yeah, that's where Nabor. I can't think of his first name.
Tom.
What is it?
Tom.
Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, he flies with them, and they're always at the Nats. And
Yeah, I've been down to their field a couple times, but I haven't flown down there.
them guys, they really know their stuff. We seen them at Brodat.
I embarrassed myself too badly by flying with them.
I tell you what, when Samantha was having problems with that plane of hers, they were both right there helping, and we're trying to figure out what's going on and everything else. I mean, they're really super guys. That handle she has is just a beautiful handle. They donated one to everyone that won at the Nats last year.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
Great.
yeah, I mean, they do a fantastic job of and they gave her the kids a narrower one so she can fly without having the thing slop all over and stuff. And yeah,
Is it
them
a
guys,
hard point handle?
yeah, hard point handle.
Now, is it the center section like carbon fiber, laid up carbon fiber?
Yep, it's carbon fiber, then it's wrapped with balsa wood.
Yeah, I saw that when I came to Huntersville because I asked her about it, and she told me about the handle.
It's really light.
Yeah.
It was interesting at the stunt clinic because Dave Fitzgerald, Brett Buck, and Ted Fancher were there, and they had a discussion about handles. And one of the things that they recommended to everyone is make sure that you use a hard point handle. The second thing they talked about was make sure that the handle had no bias in it.
Yeah.
And they proceeded to show what can happen when you have bias, because most people, when they first learn how to fly, they fly with their arms straight out. And
Right.
you do that,
Yeah.
you have a bias in your handle.
Like a pistol grip.
A precision aerobatic plane, as they told us, was flown with your wrist. It's not flown with your arm. And so the hard point handle comes into play. And Ted Fancher came up to me and he looked at my handle and he made a recommendation, and I did it. And that's what I went out flying today to try it. And one of the things he did, here's the handle I had that I made, is that between the top and the bottom, make it so that it fits your hand.
Yeah.
Don't have any slopping. Don't, so that your hand can slide up and down. And what you're able to do is you can control movement of it, minute movement, but with your fingertips, with your fingers, your forefinger and your little finger.
Yeah.
You put your fingers all the way through it. Do you put your fingers all the way through it like you're holding it now?
Yeah.
When you're flying.
When you're flying, and then you can just use your when you're like in level flight, and if you're trying to keep things level, you don't use your whole wrist or anything. You just use your fingers to control it. And boy, what a difference it made. I just couldn't believe it. And
the other thing is you can't have a bump in your handle either. That middle bump, how some people put it.
Yeah.
If you got the middle bump in it, you can't fly with your fingers.
Yeah.
Because it sets your top and bottom finger back further.
Yep. So, I mean, like I said, I redid all my handles to incorporate that. And man, what a difference.
No, the one thing I was told, though, is that with your, with a hard point like that, you can't have your clips in closer than your fingers. They have to be outside your knuckles. Yeah, otherwise, you lose the feeling of the airplane.
Yeah, these were just right at my knuckles.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they said anything. We added nose weight to Samantha's airplane to move stuff out so that they're just outside of her knuckles, because it's about a 3.5 inch span, but it's too touchy at 4. So we added nose weight to it, and then got the lines out there where she can feel that now better with moving her fingers, because you get it in too narrow and you don't have the feel.
Yeah, and you lose leverage too.
Yeah, and you lose the feel. So that was one thing that Bob Hunt told me, and another one said the same thing. Don't get them, even though they build them with the holes narrower than your knuckles to keep it,
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I try to keep mine as wide as I can. It's all a balance. Oh, that's Terry, I think. How did Terry do that?
Bell. Sounds like Terry's bell, but yeah.
It does. But I don't see him.
I don't see him either.
Nothing in the chat box.
Hey, I haven't seen Tom lately.
I saw that he posted a comment somewhere. Maybe it was on the show Sparky did the other night on the chat box, but it didn't come in live, I guess.
Yeah, that's, since his dad had the stroke, I haven't, really seen him.
Yeah.
He went down there for the Memphis Bell and stuff, and we haven't seen him since.
He might be busy. Maybe, I don't know how bad the stroke was. He might be very busy helping his dad.
Bob's back.
Yeah, Dennis, the other thing, too, is that what Samantha does is where her pointer finger and little finger's at with the wrap. We'll actually adjust that a little bit further out than her center finger, so she can get a little more feel and on her straight, on her level flight and stuff, being able to lock that in.
I never even begin to give any thought to controlling a plane with the fingers. Never did.
Yeah.
And what a difference.
Yeah, that's basically what I do when I do my inverted flight. Is just really subtle. I'm almost squeezing my hand. It's like I'm just tightening my grip to make subtle changes.
Yeah, the top finger grip or the bottom finger.
Yeah, it's like I'm practicing, how much to squeeze when I'm going into the wind, And then when I'm out of the wind, when you're going up into the wind, the plane rises. So you got to anticipate
it's
that.
hard to not
And
have
then going down the backside where the wind's at your back, then the plane's going down, and you got to squeeze to go up a little bit. It's just kind of practicing so that, because if you don't, as long as you don't go more than a foot, that's center line 6 inches above, 6 inches below, you should get 40 points. So I really try to do that.
Yeah, it's like with Samantha too on her landing. She always likes to have it trimmed to where she has to hold down into it. So she pushes that airplane down onto the pavement instead of the other way around to where you're holding up in it all the time. Then if you're pulling back and you get a little bit of flare of air,
it'll float.
Try to float on you, and then you got to go back the other way to where she's holding down. She's already doing down, so if it wants to flare, she's already going in that direction. So that's what but I guess to each their own on how to set that up for.
Yeah, I try to push mine down too, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah. I brought back some at my door.
All right.
It's quite a technique flying them into the ground, getting them down without them ballooning. The last second I've been famous for that. I get a nice approach and then I flare it too much and balloon it upwards and stuff it up, and the judge looks at you and thinks, "Done it again."
Before you touch down, that's the problem. The best landing I've ever done in front of judges was the fastest landing I've ever done. I was pushing it down and realized that I couldn't stop pushing it down, or else I would change my path from a straight descent. And so I hit the ground blazing. And that thing stuck to the ground, did not bounce, held the tail wheel off, and ran at about a quarter of a lap on just the mains.
Oh,
and
that's
let it down. That was the damnedest landing I ever saw.
That
And
sounds beautiful.
we'd just been through I had missed a stunt clinic, but we'd just been through a judging clinic and had talked about landings. And a couple of the guys that were in the clinic ran out to me and said, "Rusty, that was an 80-point landing."
Oh, man.
But actually, I think I made a 38 on it. So that was pretty damn good.
Yeah, that was like Samantha at Akron. And the winds were so bad that it was blowing like these bicycle racks they had around the circle. To me, it looked like a bicycle rack, but there was some kind of a barrier. And it was blowing them dumb things over, them steel racks.
Good Lord, that was some wind.
So we cranked, I told her, I said, well, I'm going to crank that down to about 4 8-second laps. I said, we'll probably burn the battery up, but I don't care. That's the only way you're going to make it through it. And she got everything in. She got blew out of her clover.
Oh, all the ones.
She brought that thing in for a landing, and that's what she did. I mean, it was just hauling butt. And one lap around that she brought it in, rolled about a quarter lap on its wheels, and the tail, it quit rolling, and the tail went boom right in front of Billy. Billy gave her a 39 on her landing.
Wow, 39.
He's right. And I said she should even get bonus points because where her tail wheel stopped was at the line on when they were flying Carrier the day before. Where that was the high point line where they had the lines across it, where you hook that line. And her tail was sitting right on that. I said she even got the first line on the Carrier circle. But yeah, it toasted that battery. But I mean,
good now.
It damn sure pulled it through them winds.
So the battery was no good after that flight?
No, I took it down. I took like 90 some percent, 92, 93. It puffed it all up. It was really cooking it. Hey, you got your #1 fan with you, Charles?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, she definitely is my #1 fan. Yeah, if I can get her to go flying,
So it's a
You
lot of
get some
fun.
boys out to that field and she'll show up.
Yeah, maybe.
They'll all be fluttering around her. And
You know, my boys are really enjoying it as they get a bit older. They're fighting over who's flying next, who can have the next go out there. So it's quite once you get the thrill, once you've bitten the bug by the bug, then yeah, it's a lot of fun.
yeah.
My wife
Is
had
there
first
any
fly
other,
on the weekend, and
is
she
there
really
any other kids that fly there, Gerald?
yeah, but it's mainly all modelers, sons and daughters that fly. So ever decreasing numbers. Unless you've got lots of children, there ain't going to be any new flyers. We're not pulling in new people. We're just pulling in the sons and daughters. So there's a
You know,
worry.
Samantha kind of fessed up here a year or so ago. She said that when she was flying against Mike Paris, and they were always competing. She said that was the most fun she had flying. You know, because she goes, I'm always flying with people that are over 50 years old. You know, at the time she's like 15. And she like really kind of the last thing she wanted to be hanging out with Dad and all of his old friends, you know.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Nice to see you.
But
So Steve, will you be missing the Nationals then?
yeah, well, yeah, because we'll be down there Saturday. I think we're going Saturday for the day. And David Fitzgerald's supposed to be down there, so I'll probably get them guys, Brett and them guys, to kind of coach Samantha a little bit, check out her pattern and everything. I'd like to get one of them to fly her airplane and make sure we got it turning exactly the same, you know, inside and outsides. It looks a lot better to me. She was flying really good tonight. And
Is there a place over there where she can fly over grass and not pavement at the nets?
yeah, but she'll fly probably on the pavement.
She's not. Is she going to enter an event?
No, there's no one else there, so the 2 speed circles will be open.
Yeah.
The 2 racing circles will be open, and the 4 on the L pad will be open. So there'll be a lot of places to fly. But actually, her landing gear is set up for pavement.
Yeah.
And if the grass is very long at all, it knows right as it slows down, it noses up in.
Yeah.
I'd have to make different landing gear and stuff for the grass, actually. But
Yeah, just ask David or Brett to fly the plane, and I'm sure they will.
yeah, that's what we're kind of hoping, because the biggest thing is with us is getting the airplane trimmed.
Yeah.
Figuring out what to. If I see anything right now, I'm not seeing any tonight. Not seeing anything, no bad like habits with the airplane. But I could kind of tell that it was twitchy on her level laps, her regular level laps upright, and it was really smooth on inverted. So that, and I noticed that she'd sometimes bounce the turn in her squares on the regular ones. Inverted was fine, so we took out some up in it and put some more down in there and added some nose weight to it, and it seemed to really smooth it out.
When you let those guys fly it, what about the handle? Do you let them fly it with her handle settings? Because I know everybody has some minor preferences.
They usually just fly right with her handle.
Yeah, and they will fly because they want to see how the handle performs as well.
Yeah.
Because they will go through, and I mean they'll do an analysis of it, and when they get done, there'll be a list of things that you'll have.
Yeah.
To try or fix, and they prefer you to do it right then and there.
Yeah.
You can fix it right then and there. Don't take it home, as it were, and you go get it fixed.
Yeah.
If you got to cut into it, you cut into it there, fix it, adjust it, and put it up again.
I'd have a problem with that if I were to get somebody to fly my planes, because I hold my handle backwards from everybody else, and it would not be, it wouldn't fly right holding the handle, which to them would feel backwards. You know, to me it's right. So that's a problem.
Yeah, I know Derek, when he flew her plane last year, he had his hands crammed in her, just his fingertips crammed in her handle, and he was flying it. but he got it trimmed, but he added some tail weight to it and stuff, and it was so touchy she could hardly fly it. He flies a really touchy airplane.
Flying, huh?
So we narrowed up the handle and added a little, took off some tail weight and got it to where she could fly it. And it's still touchy, but yeah, Derek he really has super control on things.
Yeah.
That normal people couldn't fly. I don't think could fly his airplane. It's so touchy. But
when I was flying an old model I built back in the 80s, I had set up with, it was a Valiant Stunter. I think it's got a 2-inch bell crank, and it felt really awful. I just realized the gearing was all wrong. But I knew that. You didn't know any better back in the 80s when I set it up. It had equal movement on the elevator and flaps, but it was all geared wrong, and you just think, heck, how did I get it so wrong? But you just didn't know any better. If that's where flying other people's models and just learning that bit more in the meantime, you just realize, yeah, it's just trimming. It's all part of trimming.
One thing though, now it may seem slow to you, but at the time it may have been as fast as you needed it to be.
Well, I think it may be the opposite. I think I wanted it so it was trimmed like a combat model, so it would flip on its back, whereas now I'd prefer a 3 or 4-inch bell crank and more slowly geared controls to have more precision. Whereas back then I just wanted to fly the maneuvers. I think that's what I was thinking at the time.
I see. You put a wide spread on a small bell crank and really crank the crap out of it, huh?
Well, I think that's what it was. It had it was just over geared. It was just too fast. But I suppose it's just something that as you age too, you prefer to have it more precise rather than just maximum movement as quick as I could get it. But it's funny flying other people's models or models like that, where it's 40 years ago that I practically built it. I just realised, yeah, things have changed a lot then too. The way the tank was set up, everything was just all wrong, and you just think, oh, yeah, a lot of changes happened in that time. And I've learned a lot in that time.
Yeah, the next vector I build, I'm going into the furthest hole in, because where they say to stick it, it's a deal to where Samantha can almost stall that airplane out. I think I'll turn that sharp. But you can tell it slows the airplane down. I mean, the flaps and elevator just, out here like this, and it's like, it turns, but then, then the speed back up again.
Yeah.
So, Steve, just to clarify my understanding, you're talking about the belt crank, the pivot to the hole out. You want to use the furthest one out?
Furthest one in.
So closest to the pivot?
Yeah.
You can slow it down, yeah.
Slow it down.
It was what I'd done is I'd moved my lead outs too close together, like 2 inches apart. Some of the bell cranks, if you had a 2-inch bell crank, it's what it felt like. I had a 2-inch bell crank in the wing of the thing that I was flying, and it's just geared way too quick. You're only giving minute amounts of movement on your handle, and you've got full deflection of your flaps and elevators. But,
yeah. If you know, I got on Stunthangar, and I was looking up vortex generators, and there's a video of Chris Rudd flying an airplane with a camera on it with vortex generators, and it shows him doing square maneuvers and all that. It's flying the pattern. You watch him do a square maneuver and watch how little the flaps and elevator actually move.
Yeah, I've seen that video. It's amazing. They barely move it up.
Yeah, if you like with Samantha's plane now, if you give it full handle, them damn things, he's only traveling 1/3 of the way to make it do full. And, so if you really crank it in, that damn thing, it stalls the airplane, if they're really, but,
yeah, it blows the air off the control.
She hardly, it's just a flick, whatever. But then when stuff moves that fast, then we're talking again, like Dennis said, about flying with just the fingertips, because everything is so quick. It just takes just a teeny bit of pressure on that to adjust that airplane.
Well, that's like a well-trimmed plane versus a badly trimmed plane. It's like getting in a really old car and you're winding the steering wheel around like this to go around a corner, whereas a modern car, high ratio power steering, you're just moving it like that. You're not winding it around like my old Pontiac to get around the corner, and it's a bit like that with the control system on a poorly trimmed plane.
And those steering wheels that were that big around were tiny too. I mean, they weren't fat like today's where you hold it with your fist. You had to be able to really tighten down.
Yeah.
I remember an old Mack semi truck that I had to drive, and it had no power steering, and it had, you know, I don't know, 24-inch steering wheel in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, probably in the 60s they quit. Well, they made a vent window with like a little thing you pushed, and the vent window would open up.
A wing window, yeah.
Yeah, and then that little thing you'd pull down.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, I'm backing up, and I got the wheel turn, and I'm doing like this, and I hit a hole with that wheel, with the front steer wheel, and it threw the whole steering wheel, and my pinky hit that piece of metal.
Ow.
Got caught in there, and the steering wheel kept going, and I broke my little finger.
Wow.
But there was like no room between the steering wheel and the windows. That thing was, you know, without power steering in it, it turned so. Once you got to move it, you know, wasn't so bad.
Right.
But you damn sure wanted to have it moving when you were trying to turn it, because if you were sitting still, you could turn as hard as you want. You couldn't even. When you were weighing 80,000 pounds, you couldn't even move them front steer tires.
A steering wheel on a sailing ship, you know, big old.
Well, yeah, it had a big old nicker knob.
Yeah.
Some of the old nicker knobs.
Necking knob.
And you had to crank that thing once you got it moving a little bit, get that thing going and back and forth. And
yeah.
Yeah.
So very illegal.
Right arm around your baby, steer with your left hand.
What's that?
That's so you could wrap your right arm around your baby and steer with your left hand.
I had mine on the right hand side because my right arm is stronger. I seen him on the left hand side, but I didn't have enough strength to crank that wheel with one arm.
Work up to it.
Well, I only used it when I was, you know, backing it in or whatever, going slow, going down the highway. I seen people, you know, actually steering vehicles with one of them, but I never used it except when I was trying to back in a trailer and I had been in a tight spot and I had to grab that thing and just give it all it had one way or the other. And
I need to put them on our John Deere tractor, because normally I just use the palm of my hand. I move the steering wheel with that. The steering wheel on the John Deere is that light. You can just steer it with the palm of your hand, running it around when you want to do a rapid turn. But yeah, I need one of the little, what did you call it? A knicker ball?
A knicker knob.
Knicker knob.
Like knickerbockers. We always called it a knicker knob.
We always call it a
name for it is.
Necking knob is what I always heard. So,
what'd you call it?
Necking, Necking, because you're necking with your baby over here and you're driving.
Oh, a necking knob. We call it a knicker. Maybe we heard it wrong. I didn't know why they called it that, but that's what I always called it.
Well, you Yankees
knicker knob, but as a necking knob.
Don't know how to pronounce stuff anyway, so.
A necker knob. Okay.
Hey guys, I'm going to pull the plug. I'm starting to get tired.
I am.
No control line flyer if you're already getting tired after only like 2 hours of talking this stuff.
It's after midnight.
We're going to have to work Ron up to these conversations.
Give me half a chance to get something that's flyable.
Yes. Yeah.
Then I can fit in.
You can fit in already. You're fitting in good, man.
Get you one of them ARF ringmasters from Brodak. You can glue all that up in one night at home, probably 3 or 4 hours.
Get you a rugged stunt trainer, something like that.
That was my first airplane.
Was it? Well, take you a bunch of empty grocery bags out to the field with you.
Hey, I got a dust pan and a broom, so I'm all set.
All right.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Brodak comes out with that little Ellie as the next ARF. It's a 25 size. They call it little Ellie. I don't know what.
I've seen it.
Kind of
Yeah,
like a peacemaker and stuff.
Anyway, guys, I'm off. See you
Yeah.
guys.
all right, Ron.
All right, Ron. I'm glad you finally got in.
Yeah, I'll be back Friday, but that'll be the last day for
Okay.
2 weeks or so till I get.
Yeah, guess you won't be able to. I don't know if you'll get a chance to get in from France or not. I don't see why it'd be a problem if you got time and a decent laptop or something. But
And you're also from New Zealand, so you should be able to get in from France too.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I'll bring my. Yeah, we'll see how the Wi-Fi is and stuff. I'll try. Well, the first Monday, it'd be from the airplane because we'll be 11 o'clock we leave 7 o'clock at night. And we get in France 10 o'clock the next day in the morning.
on what day of July are we talking about?
We're taking off the 9th at
The 9th.
1900 hours, so that's 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then we arrive in France at 10 a.m.
Okay.
I told Samantha that's like when I went to Switzerland. That's a bad deal.
Yeah.
Because you end up staying awake and stuff. And then next thing you know, everybody else wants, hey, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're ready to go. And it's like, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning at home. When I was in Switzerland, it was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I got there at like 10. I said, you realize I haven't had any sleep last night. And we end up staying up all night or all day and seeing everybody. They took me out to dinner and drinks and playing cards and stuff like that. I was supposed to go to work the next day. Shit, I slept right through my alarm. I didn't wake up till like 1:30 in the afternoon.
I understand that. Yeah, usually the first decision you make in your day is to hit the snooze button.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking is that if I don't get good rest on the airplane, which I probably won't, because if we hit a bump or whatever, I'm going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
I need to start swimming here or what, you know?
Maybe you can get your doctor to give you a week supply of Valiums or something. So
So I figure I'll be tense or whatever, and we get there at 10. By the time we get they said it takes about an hour and a half to get out through customs. So now we're talking 11:30. Then go get the car is at noon, and then like a 3-hour drive there to the hotel, or more or less. Like I have a feeling I'm going to be real tired on that drive.
Yeah, you might want to take a nap before you get next.
Yeah,
You know?
I got to go, gentlemen. My battery's dying.
All right.
All right, man. Take it easy, Dennis. See you a little later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Maybe we'll see some paint Friday.
I don't know. It's been too hot to paint.
Oh,
Gotta wait
okay.
for it to cool down.
Good night.
No,
Good night, Dennis.
Yeah, so I'm not real sure how I'm going to feel on that day, but I wish instead of having the motel where we're going to stay for 12 days or whatever, 10 days, whatever it is, that we'd have got into Paris and then maybe got a little bit outside of Paris and got a motel, finished the day there, and then got up the next morning and went to the where we're going to be at. But
that would have been a good idea. Yeah, hindsight's 2020.
you know,
Yeah,
So-
that definitely would have made a lot of sense.
maybe I can get a little bit of sleep on the plane and stuff. And
They had good coverage from Australia of real-time scores and everything. So I'll try to keep up with y'all as best as I can, and I'll definitely be pulling for you.
Yeah, same here, man. Absolutely. You know, I have a question to see. Are you going to be? Is Samantha going to be flying on grass or hard surface?
on pavement.
Okay, so the championship's on pavement. Okay.
Yeah, so I probably should have built another set of landing gear, but I really don't like changing them out and all that stuff all the time. And where's the holes, and I don't I don't know. But because these were wing mounted gear.
Right.
And
Can you take the pants off of it and put bigger wheels on?
I got some pretty good sized wheels. Maybe I can go with some thicker ones. But we've been having good luck with the thin ones cutting through the grass. That thick ones seem to even grab harder.
Yeah.
You know, but it lands real. I mean, she's already flew it off pavement and it really lands. She can land it well, but we got to stiffen up. I got to build I guess they're called spats or whatever. They're not wheel pants.
Right. They're spats. Yeah.
And get that to stiffen the gear up. And that's what we're going to build that tomorrow and finish up the case. And Chris flew in Friday night and picked his case up. He was real happy with it.
What kind of case is it?
I had it made out of aluminum.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's not actually like the Dura landing gear or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that aluminum, to where it was just to where they could bend it without it cracking. So it's like that Dura gear aluminum.
Okay.
So it's a stiffer aluminum.
So the parts of the plane, are they inset in foam?
Yeah, you set them in there and then put foam around them, and
So you spray the foam, and then so you put do you spray the foam?
no, you just cut like what I'm going to use is like the egg carton foam. And I got some finer bubble wrap, so I'm going to wrap the wings in bubble wrap and then set them on foam, and then a couple Velcro straps will come across it and hold everything down. Then the fuselage will be in the top, and then that's a little different because being a take apart, there's pieces that come out of the side of the fuselage. So I'm going to have to block it up and keep that from hitting, but it can't be too far down because it'd poke a hole in the wing.
Right. So your wings are in two pieces then, huh? You have two panels? Okay.
Yeah, so the one side's a fuselage, and I might be able to get the tail and rudder in that part of it. And then just the wings and other things I want to take, and because I got to pull the motor out of it. Well, no, I don't have to pull the motor out of it. All I got to do on that one is just take the front hub off the electric motor. I don't got to pull the whole motor out of the plane. So
is that because it's electric, or?
Yeah, it's a rear mount, so it's got like 3 screws that hold like an aluminum threaded hub off there or whatever. So that sticks out 6.5 millimeters, and that gets you're a little bit of a gap there. So actually, the motor is just back in from the airplane once you put that out on there. It's like, this one here. If it was back mounted, you put the collet deal on there. Mm-hmm. When it's mounted the other way, then the that little hub thing. This one doesn't really have a hub one, but the hub bolt's on there.
Okay.
It's a different setup.
Well, guys, I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, wish you luck, and I hope we'll might see you again here before you go.
Yeah, probably Friday. I'll see everybody. It'll just be I'll be on the plane Monday night when it goes off. But okay. I'll try to get on there Friday, the following Friday from France.
Yeah, that'd be great if you can.
Yeah. All right. Well, we still got 5 YouTube viewers out there, but we got a few super chat donations tonight, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's nice.
All you guys that came on here live, thanks for coming on and helping me out and making some noise. And so y'all have a good week. Come back Friday and tell us all about it. And until then, Fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see you later.
All right.
Good
See you guys later.
Good night, folks.
Yeah. Right.